there, Jen.
I'm trying to think of I'm thinking of those more the things that are wrapped in like orange or black.
Those are awful. Yeah, they're
Like a
also made in
peanut
the
butter
40s.
taffy thing.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
Halloween fruitcakes.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
This Halloween, excited young children will come to your door with bags open. Now, you have a choice. You can give them something good to eat, or you can give them Smarties. Seriously, the perfect combination of aspirin and Tums.
The early game. 107.5. The game.
Tuesday morning, the middle of November. Boy, we are cruising right towards Thanksgiving. Good news, maybe, before Thanksgiving, there'll be another football game to be played for South Carolina. We'll start getting you ready for the Gamecocks and the Volunteers this coming weekend over at Williams-Brice Stadium this morning. So we'll kind of put to bed that awful, embarrassing showing down in the swamp that South Carolina put on Saturday afternoon. We'll put that one to bed. J.C. Shurburtt will join us at about 7 o'clock this morning, as he does each and every week. And we'll get his take. And I think the big question now, after spending a lot of time yesterday talking with different people, I think the big question now really kind of is more about the program. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago when South Carolina became bowl eligible, and just the big picture bowl eligibility, not just for 2022, but moving forward. And it really is in discussing things with just people, just in general. Nobody that's a source or nobody that's extremely close to the program, but just getting the general feeling of the fan base. It's kind of amazing, really. Football is college football season, I should say, is a highs and lows roller coaster, really, for the majority of fan bases. Not every fan base can be Georgia or Ohio State right now, Michigan, where it's just 12 weeks of fun and joy and excitement. There's ups and downs to every fan base. You look at Florida, the team South Carolina just played, and you look at the ups and downs of their season, beating Utah, losing to Kentucky, losing to LSU, the way their season, beating Texas A&M, drilling South Carolina. The point being is there's highs and lows. There's times that you get happy and you're excited. You beat Texas A&M, and then you follow that up with a loss to Missouri. You follow it up with a victory over Vanderbilt, only to get drilled in the swamp. But it's really, I don't know if I've seen such a drastic swing with a fan base, or is obviously specifically South Carolina, given that I've grown up here and now done sports talk radio for a little over 13 years. I don't know if I've seen such a drastic swing in the general feeling of the fan base toward its football program in about a 3-week period. I mean, that's kind of, we came in here October 24th, that Monday morning, after South Carolina had finally knocked off Texas A&M, and count me amongst those who was probably uber positive, ultra positive. Hey, 8-2. You look at the schedule, man. Oh boy, with no reason you can't beat Missouri, Vanderbilt, Florida, and be top 20 with Tennessee coming to town. And boy, what excitement that would be. Oh boy, was I wrong. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. But the overall attitude of the fan base, and it does raise the question now of, in my opinion, South Carolina is bowl eligible. And I said it yesterday, there have been really good things. There are positives through the first 23 games of the Shane Beamer era. But now as we start to wrap up the 2022 season, and you look at what's laying ahead, the Tennessee game and the Clemson game, both games, obviously, this weekend, South Carolina, now a 21.5-point underdog, might be 22 by now, by 6:07 here on a Tuesday morning, might be 22.5. As we sit here, you figure Clemson's going to be a double-digit favorite over South Carolina. Maybe closer to 9.5, 10.5. I don't know. Right around that number is what I would assume. 6-6, and you're going to look back at this season if it plays out in that manner. Where do you feel about the program? And that's kind of where we sit this morning. I think that this offseason, with the transfer portal, with guys potentially electing to go ahead and move on to the NFL if those opportunities do exist or transfer out, it could be a very interesting offseason. So we'll get to a lot of that this morning, take more of a big picture look at the program. Obviously, Shane Beamer will speak later today at 1:30. You can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game. That'll be with Jerry. Just going to combine both of their names, Jay and Terry, not Joe. But that would be the good
Wow.
name of their show, wouldn't it?
So it's kind of like are you kind of putting it in like a bromance type thing?
Well, did you hear what did you really catch? I know you're in there doing first, I decided to use the first letter of Terry's name.
Right. I heard Jerry.
I said Tay. It'd be Terry and Jay. And then I decided I'd mess it up one more time by going with Jerry.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I was actually, while a major screw up, a pretty talented screw up. The fact that I was able to use the first letter of each one's name and the rest of their name for both of it, that was actually a pretty solid screw up on my part.
You're very trendy, I must say.
Helping people find some joy is the way I tend to look at it.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
To the Beamer thing.
Yeah, there you go. 803-404-6100. So again, obviously, if you didn't get a chance to weigh in yesterday on South Carolina and Florida, you're more than welcome to. Please, all we ask, don't make Jen use the dump button. That's really our main goal around here. Don't use the dump button. But you're more than welcome. There's still reason to have some anger in you on Tuesday. I don't expect all of you to have gotten it out on Monday. So if you want to get that out, you want to vent a little bit, you're more than welcome to do that. We'll gladly take the phone call, let you exercise some feelings this morning. Let's get out to those Love Chevy phone lines. Of course, Gamecock Larry ready to lead us off this morning and tell us what we need to do. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
Well, I'm still upset, still disappointed, and still mad. But there's nothing we can do about it. Florida, it's over. It's over. They took us to the woodshed, but now it's time to get ready for Tennessee. Everybody's saying we're going to get shut out. We're going to get run out of town. The spread now is 21.5. I don't care if it goes up to 50.5. I'm still a Gamecock. And what is a Gamecock? It's that big old Rhode Island red rooster strutting the stuff through the chicken pen. And when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. A fighting Gamecock don't give up. And I'm not going to give up. I'll take all the points anybody want to give me. I'll take them. But I'm going to tell you something. Gamecock fans, I'm not able to go. I wish I could go. I'd be down there, man, yes, sir, I would be down there. But I know it's hard. Time's hard. But a fighting Gamecock don't give up. Never give up. If you can, I know it's rough, it's hard. Go down there. Be like it was on that Saturday night when Texas A&M came to town. And I'll guarantee you one thing. If you do all that, Vols, come on down. Come on down, because I'm not saying we're going to win, but I'm saying one thing, we're going to give you a fight. And we will cover the spread. It's hard. It's easy for me to say, I can't do nothing. I can't even hardly get out of my wheel. Climb up to my wheelchair. But I can sure listen to the radio watch it on TV, and let them talk all the trash they want to talk to about the Gamecocks. Coach Beeman knows what he's got to do, and it will be done when the time comes. That's all I got to say. I love you guys. Love everybody. Gamecock Nation, this rough. It's hard for this old man to sit here, but I went through 0-21, and I sure can go through 34 to 6 or whatever it is. We're going to be okay. Get behind the Gamecocks. But remember, fighting Gamecock never gives up. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Go Gamecocks. Gamecocks. Love all y'all.
There you go. There's your Tuesday motivational speech. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Show up on Saturday night. Cheer on the guy. Who knows? But Richard asks, and a legitimate question, that right now it's hard. It's hard to have an answer to. He goes, what in the world can Carolina do to stop from being embarrassed against Tennessee on Saturday night? We'll try and get to some of that. We'll talk about the program because there's an answer to that question that Richard asks. The problem is South Carolina doesn't have that answer. They don't have that answer. There is an actual answer there, but it's not something that's in South Carolina's bag of tricks. 803-404-6100. We'll stay on the Love Chevy phone lines when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
You should be Vanderbilt. You haven't lost to Vanderbilt in 15 years. They lost 26 straight SEC football games. That is nothing to be proud of. That is the minimum expectation. That is show up. And it was find some joy. How dare you criticize this football team for not winning enough, for not winning well enough or the right way. And then they got their doors blown off and did not score a point on offense.
I think we're figuring out the definition of gaslighting. I think we're getting to actually figuring out the definition because it's making you sound as if you're crazy. That's what happens when somebody gaslights you. You rev up. You're like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you mean I didn't say that? What do you mean? You're like, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? And that's it. Shane has successfully gaslit you, Pearson.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Thanksgiving just over a week away, and you know what that means. All the family comes to your house because you have the nice house. You have the clean house. You have the clean house because you've contacted Zero Res, and it's time to do it again. Make sure Zero Res, with their patented ZR water technology, leaves no residue behind. It's a cleaning system to get your carpets, rugs, and upholstery all insanely clean. Make sure Zero Res gets out to your house. Actually, driving around my neighborhood yesterday, I saw the Zero Res van at 2 different stops in the neighborhood, getting ready for Thanksgiving next week to have the family over, and you want to do that. Take advantage right now of their fall sale going on. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. You can schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Don't wait around until all the family has shown up. Go ahead, get that appointment lined up this week. Get Zero Res out to your house. And again, take advantage of the fall sale going on. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you get a hallway cleaned for free. So again, make the phone call, 803-262-4020. Or again, you can schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Car versus Deer incident, Roberts Road at Harmon Road. Aside from that, no major tie-ups to speak of. Looking for cold rain today. That'll be starting mid-morning, and a high of only 51, our overnight low of 45. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high of 60, but then by Thursday, our high is only 51, and that overnight low will be below freezing. So, interesting week we have on tap. But right now, it is a little bit cool. It's 50 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. The 1972 Dolphins popped those champagne corks again last night, folks. Their perfect season legacy lives on for another year as the Commanders stunned the previously unbeaten Eagles. Few saw this double-digit upset coming, but Washington held the ball for 40 minutes and 24 seconds. Add in 3 takeaways, and presto, what you have is a major upset. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Buying a home? Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you, saving you hundreds, even thousands with Inflation Buster. For example, if you lock a 7% rate today, you'll only pay 6% for a year. That means more road trips, more date nights, more front row seats every month for a year. And your rate is secured for 30 years. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you get exclusive savings when you refinance with Rate Drop Advantage. More home upgrades, or rainy day funds, more cash in your pocket. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 833-7ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving. That's 833-7ROCKET or go to inflationbuster.com.
For fees covered rate like date requirements and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com or call 1-833-7-ROCKET, equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples is your one-stop destination for shipping supplies and services. And right now, get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item. Offer ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just affect you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Bill Gunner. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Whether it's your hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, and no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Appointments are available this coming week. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp
Let me see.
If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court, even if you were turned down in the past. A new law.
This is what I'm looking for. Get put a little tweet out there.
To find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. On your home. 1075 The Game.
The game, nothing that I can remember. I mean, we weren't good enough. I mean, I'll have a better answer for you tomorrow night on the teleconference, Hale, but just fresh off that, I mean, I don't remember. They did a good job of defeating blocks, and we wanted to get the ball on the perimeter, and I think we ran a little perimeter play on the second play of the game and got beat. Their defensive back, beat our receiver. I know we ran the counter, I think, the first play of the game, and they did a good job, obviously, of stopping it. So don't know. We'll have to continue to see what happened there.
That's Shane Beamer from Saturday afternoon following the game in the Swamp as it pertained to the opening few plays of the game for the South Carolina offense. I mean, it was rough, obviously, on both sides, offensively and defensively. Darius Rush did have an opportunity for an interception on the Gators' first drive and couldn't come up with the ball. Probably should have made the play. It was a difficult one, but you'd like to think that he can make that play and maybe change the momentum a little bit. You know, we were talking about Richard on our text line asked, all right, what is the recipe for trying to beat Tennessee or to not be embarrassed? Well, to me, it's you slow the game down as much as possible. I mean, obviously, when Tennessee's rolling in here currently at 9-1, not a lot of teams have figured out that recipe. Georgia, who has an all-world defense, figured it out, but the truth is 9 other teams could not, and most of those 9 other teams didn't just get beaten. They got blown out of the water. Just ask LSU about that. So the recipe, though, if you ask me, is to be able to run the football effectively, slow the game down, chew up clock, and try and limit Tennessee's offensive touches, okay? That sounds simple enough. The problem is South Carolina right now cannot run the football without Marshawn Lloyd, and Jaheim Bell's not the answer. Now, I think Jaheim Bell in certain situations can be fine at that running back spot, but he's not the centerpiece. He's not going to be the centerpiece of the offense like Marshawn Lloyd needs to be or should be if he's healthy, nor is Jaheim Bell a full-time running back. He's kind of like a Deebo Samuel. You got to move him all over the field. There are times you can put him back there and maybe get a mismatch or be creative with your play calling and try and slip him out of the backfield or get him lined up on a linebacker in a one-on-one situation. But you can't just hand him the ball every time and say, run that way, young man. Run north. Go to the end zone. No, it's got to be a little bit more creative than that. So that's kind of the recipe that I would come up with. And South Carolina right now doesn't have that one in their bag. 803-404-6100. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. I was talking about the state of the program. 23 games in. Bo wants to weigh in on that. Bo, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing all right, Bill. How about you, bud?
Doing good.
How you doing this morning, Bill?
Doing good. Yeah, hanging in there.
Hey, listen, I got kind of a twofold statement to make. You go back and look at the schedule through the year, and, I mean, any real football team we've played this year, we've lost against, Bill. I mean, it's just clearly obvious that we don't have the horses up front to take care of the quarterback, to even give him the position to put us in a situation where we could win the game. You know, he's been constantly pressured all year. And everyone says it's Satterfield, the plays he's calling, this and that. Well, if we could hold our blocks and run our schemes properly, the offense probably would work itself out. But that doesn't seem to be happening. We've got 3 wins against not even mid-major schools, and of course we could play those kind of schools all year and probably be 10-0. But when you come and get a real test put on you, we're not going to rise to the occasion. But basically what I'm saying is just that the years that the old ball coach was here, look how many guys he put in the NFL. Off of each one of those teams, 3 or 4 guys each year were going to the NFL, playing in the NFL, and being all pros. Some of them were even all pros in the NFL. Until we can get our program back to that state to where you've got guys coming to the program that are next level guys, we're not going to win consistently. And that was the main thing, the main difference between what Spurrier did and everyone else did. It's a culture. It starts from the beginning, and acceptance of mediocrity is not acceptable. To say, well, we're 6-5 or we're 6-6 and we're bowl eligible and we're going to a bowl. What kind of bowl? Who cares? I know you get the extra practices and things, but if you're not going to a New Year's Day bowl or in the 4 bowls that count, you're not really playing. You're not really playing for anything. I mean, what can you say positive about the program? honestly, this year, Bill? What can you positively say about the program?
Well, and thank you for the phone call, Bo. The answer to your question, I do think there is a level of getting bowl eligible that still matters for South Carolina at this point. Now, to your point about going to bowl games, look, if that's the take, and I understand where you're coming from, let's be honest, there's only 3 games that matter in the postseason: the 2 playoff games and the championship game. Anything else is irrelevant. Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl. I think it's the, what is it this year? I think it's the Fiesta and I believe the Peach are the 2 national. I think they're the games. They're hosting the semifinals. I believe those are the 2 of them. But I mean, let's be honest. Even the Rose Bowl. Oh, you had Ohio State players opting out last year. No bowls. I do personally love the bowl system. Apparently, I don't know. I love having games on throughout the week and just the whole setup. And maybe it's just nostalgia or whatever. I do love the bowl system, but the bottom line is what you just said is true. And it really doesn't matter what game out. There is no more Outback Bowl, but the Reliaquist Bowl down in Tampa, the Citrus Bowl, the Orange Bowl. Yeah, none of them are relevant anymore. Bowl system's broken. I don't know how they'll fix that. We're going to see a bigger playoff coming, but I do think that it's for South Carolina still becoming bowl eligible at this point and growing the program means something. I do think that there is a time that your assessment is very true. That just being 6-6 and bowl eligible is not something that is the initial goal. It should be 9 wins, 10 wins. You grow the program, and the program's having to be regrown, rebuilt, and you make some good points. And that's why I ask about the overall strength of this program, because now you kind of look at it and you see what Florida just did to South Carolina with Billy Napier and a first-year head coach. You see what Eli Drinkowitz has done to South Carolina the last 2 years, and specifically this past, or 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, you make a lot of valid points about the wins and where they're coming from. I will say again, part of it is you have to take advantage of teams when they're down. South Carolina was able to take advantage of Kentucky. They were able to take advantage of Texas A&M, and you got to be honest about that and say, hey, it could be a lot worse. Could have lost those games. Could have lost. Didn't, but could have. So, and I appreciate the phone call, but what you're saying, what Bo is saying there, is why I'm asking the big picture question, and what we'll get into a little bit with J.C. Shurburtt coming up in about 30 minutes. The big picture question is, where is this program now with 23 games to go, or 23 games into the Shane Beamer era? Coming off of that Texas A&M game, and we knew Texas A&M was a disaster. It wasn't like we're looking at Texas A&M now saying, oh, my goodness, they're bad. No, we knew that when they were coming to Columbia. But the general feeling of the fan base after that game was, man, okay, this thing's trending in the right direction. Shane's got it going. Yes, there needs to be some changes at the offensive coordinator spot. Yes, there's a few things that he's going to have to do. But now you look at it, I don't know. It's the old approval rating that I flip on CNBC or MSNBC or whatever, and then we're talking about a president's approval rating. It feels like the approval rating has taken a quick nosedive in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And this weekend was ugly. It was ugly. We'll continue talking about it. 803-404-6100. I see a bunch of you have weighed in on the text message line. I want to get to all of those when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app.
It is starting to feel a little bit like winter is definitely right around the corner. This morning, little 48-degree action out there. Got a little chilly over the night. And if you woke up this morning and your heating unit had gone out, you probably were not a very happy person. Don't let that happen. Go ahead and call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out to your house. Let them inspect your heating and air unit. Make sure everything is working properly and you are ready for the winter, because trust me, and it's happened before, and then I called AAA Heating and Air. You don't want to wake up one morning when it's really cold and your heating and air unit has gone out, and then you're trying to find as many clothes as possible to walk around your own house. That's not comfortable. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. If you're in the market for a new heating and air unit, AAA Heating and Air is ready to help you. They offer a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then make sure that the new system put in is going to work properly because they give you a 15-year part and labor warranty. And how about this? If you're worried about money right now, they have guaranteed financing, not just for those with great credit, but all people can get financing with AAA Heating and Air. Again, get them out to your house, maybe get a little inspection done, get some maintenance. Even right now, AAA Heating and Air offering free ductwork inspections now through December. Make the phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. And again, tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Just car versus deer incident. Roberts Road at Harmon Road. No other traffic tie-ups to note at this point. That's good news. But we are looking for a cold rain today. 51 for the high. 60 tomorrow. And then Thursday, a high of only 51 under mostly sunny skies. But boy, that overnight low is going to be about 28. Right now, though, it is 50 at 107.5 The Game.
Making a difference in the lives of children and families brings a feeling of satisfaction that is unmatched. You may be just the person to help them to a brighter tomorrow. Answer the call and learn more about becoming a child welfare case manager at dss.sc.gov. There, you will find qualifications needed and information about salary and benefits available. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services. Enjoy Gamecock football Saturday at Columbia Craft Brewing Company on Green Street. Whether the game is home or away, Columbia Craft can be your tailgate headquarters. Bring your own food.
All righty. Oh, boy.
Try some handcrafted in Columbia. Go to kwbeverage.com and hit the product hunter to find location.
Travis Benson, owner of CNT Foundations. With the economy like it is today, you may feel like your world is crumbling. And if your home has a foundation problem,
Jim, we got the same promos? Same everything?
Yes. Yep. And the tickets.
And the tickets.
Should have gone to bar 3 with me yesterday. It was fun.
Define fun.
Okay, well, I'd been out for 3 weeks. So any endurance that was built up, because being out of town for over 2 weeks, and then we had workmen in the house all this past week. So I don't know if fun was the word, but it felt good to be back when I was gasping for air.
There you go. Gasping for air.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it felt good to be back in there, but it's like, oh, you just hate the momentum that you lose, It's why you got to be consistent.
That is true. That is the key. Now, bar 3 is not really weights are not really. It's more of cardio and yoga, correct?
Well, you use weights. Yeah, there's strength training involved.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So feeling a little bit this morning, but like I said, it was good to be back.
Yeah, you don't have your yoga. I actually didn't look. I don't know what Jen's wearing. I just motored right past her coming into the studio.
I did have my funky little plaid yoga-ish pants yesterday.
Yeah, you were quite snazzy. Got a feeling you stood. I don't know what the typical attire is for bar 3, but I'm gonna assume you stood out a little bit.
The pants are like a fall plaid or whatever, kind of cool. But I got to give props to my spouse because he's the one that actually found them and picked them out.
There you go. Look at that. That's a good spouse.
Because I'm too cheap to do that kind of stuff. But so I have some with some Halloween pumpkins on them and some shamrocks for, St. Patrick's Day. So gotta have fun. Gotta look fun. Bill, you're Mr. Match your watch band, your outfit.
Yeah, I've been laying off the watch because apparently I I like really beaten up the back of my hand.
Oh.
So I've gone a couple days without a watch just to.
6:37 on your Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, as we get you up, get you going. I'll get to that text line in just a second, but want to remind you all season long we've been giving away tickets to the South Carolina home football games. Keep listening this morning. About 7, what do you think, Jen? 7:15, we'll give away another pair of tickets to the South Carolina-Tennessee game. Saturday night is the Carolina Honda Powerhouse Gamecock ticket giveaway. Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your source for Honda Power Sports. Visit them on the web, carolinahonda.com. So again, coming up about 7:15.
That's 7:15, sure.
Yeah, it seems like a good time as you're trying to drive to school or drive your kids to school. Maybe you're driving to school. Maybe you're a young kid and you drive yourself to school.
Yeah, they're listening.
Yeah, they get very fired up. So we dominate that segment of the demographic. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. We'll get into some of these text messages here and roll along. Ronnie weighing in on the text line and says coaches need to watch the Washington Commanders game from last night. Yes, we'll get into that a little bit. The Commanders ending the undefeated season for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure that makes for a happy Patrick Perrette this morning. But Ronnie says need to keep Tennessee offense off the field and force turnovers. Scott weighing in about our bowl question as we were talking about. He said, how many of our players will opt out of the bowl game? I bet a fair number. That's possible. That's exactly where that's where college football is, not just where South Carolina is. And we talk about the relevance of bowl games. There's a very real possibility that you do have a lot of guys that do elect to opt out of bowl season, not just for South Carolina, but also for other teams as well. Anonymous texter weighs in and says, do you think fans will show up to make Williams-Brice Stadium the atmosphere it needs to be on Saturday night to give us a chance? That's a good question. I really am. I think South Carolina fans will be there in force. They've announced it as a sellout, but look, I mean, again, the majority of the tickets were already purchased before the Florida game. I think, you get the night game. It's the final game of the season. Your chance one more time to go out and tailgate a little bit and experience just being around Williams-Brice Stadium and a fall Saturday. I personally will be down in Charleston at my son's soccer tournament, so I won't be in town to kind of see what the atmosphere is. I don't think it will be the same kind of atmosphere as Texas A&M. And the other thing that I believe is South Carolina better do something very quickly to build some momentum. Tennessee can eliminate South Carolina and that fan base from the game very quickly if the Vols get the ball and go right down the field and Jalen Hyatt scores a touchdown. You want to have an ugly scene early on. Let Tennessee come out and take 2 drives and make it 14-0, and South Carolina sandwiches in there a 3 and out from the offense. That fan base may be ready to turn on the entire team at that point, South Carolina's fan base. So I think from the get-go, it'll be pretty good. Yes, Tennessee, obviously not very far away, and I believe that they're going to bring a nice contingent of fans down here. But I think all in all, it should still be a pretty good environment Saturday night. To me, the key there is getting off to a somewhat decent start to keep your fan base involved in the game. If you come out, Tennessee goes right down the field, scores, you go 3 and out, and Tennessee puts another one on the board, and it's 14-0 before you've been able to take the first sip of your soda. It's going to be an ugly, long, long night. 803-404-6100. William weighs in. We've been talking about the overall direction of the program, and he says 6-6 is where most realistic fans thought the Gamecocks would be. Just frustrated how they arrived here, like going to Atlanta by the way of Charlotte. And again, we've said this really over the last few weeks about how college football evolves during just one season and how things change. Obviously, to me, when we were looking at the schedule this summer, you go even further back, April, March, we looked at it, and Tennessee was the winnable game. Texas A&M was the one that I would have put pretty much in the loss category. Okay, Tennessee, I think South Carolina can get that. I know Brad Crawford, who we've had on from 24/7 Sports, actually in his preseason predictions had South Carolina beating Tennessee coming into this game because of the kind of the run that Tennessee would have had to go through the last few weeks with Kentucky, with Georgia, with Missouri last week. But now you look at it and Texas A&M was the easy victory. Tennessee is the top 4 team. We'll find out tonight. College football playoff ranking will be released again, but Tennessee is the big bad opponent, the 24-point or 21-point favorite in this game. It's funny how things have evolved. I'm kind of with you, William, on you're right. Most people, I think, wanted to see 7-5, a 1-game regular season improvement. A 1-game regular season improvement. Get to 7-5, and the opportunity is there. The 2 games have to be played. They do need to be played, and you never know what's going to happen. We've seen crazier things happen, right? I still would have never predicted. I think the craziest thing is when South Carolina went to Georgia a couple years ago, was a 24.5-point underdog and won the football game. So the game has to be played, and things can happen. Same goes for the game against Clemson up there at Memorial Stadium. But right now, I think what you've got to do here is get to find a way somehow to get that 7 regular season victory. Get there to that, because that's a 1-game improvement. I think that's where most people would like to accept that. 7-5 would have been it. 803-404-6100. Scott makes a good point. And all I'm saying is, he says, get off to a fast start. You say that every week, and they never do it. No, South Carolina's, they did get off to a fast start against Texas A&M, obviously with special teams and defensive propelled. But you know what? If you got to run a kickback, if you got to block a punt, got to block a field goal, got to intercept a pass, whatever it takes. You are right, Scott. The offense has shown nothing through 23 games that makes you think, I guess the 1 game against North Carolina, but there's nothing else that makes you think the offense is going to come out firing on all cylinders and get off to a fast start. And that's concerning right there, because you can't fall behind. Tennessee's not a team you can fall behind. Were you going to weigh in, Jen? You're just shaking your head?
Yeah, shaking my head. I did, Bo had called. He did have another question that he
Oh,
didn't
I'm
get
sorry.
to. That's okay. And he was just asking, like, okay, you see DK Joyner. What with some of the players like DK, like, why are they not getting more reps? When you see solid performances from them, like, why not give them more opportunities?
Yeah, Shane Beamer will talk today at 1:30. I don't anticipate him really answering some of the questions. I think he has to be very careful today with how he addresses the offense. The defense needs work too. Let's be very clear about that. South Carolina's defense, because I think we know that they're dealing with the Mokaba injury, the Jordan Strawn injury. David Spalding was a starter that was out. I know I said it last week. RJ Roderick is obviously got injured and then transferred. And some people say, well, hey, Nick Eamon-Warry, DQ Smith, they've played much better. That's been an upgrade over RJ Roderick. It is true, but you also took away some depth there. The defense is still playing a little bit with one hand behind its back. Now, there's still no excuse to come out and to get shredded the way that they were early on. But I think most are willing to give a little bit of a pass to Clayton White and the defense, because there are injuries there. And Sherrod Green is trying. He's I hate to say it like this, he's doing the best he can, but the best he has is not very good. That's just the reality of the situation. He's really struggling there at middle linebacker and really hurt the Gamecocks. The linebacking play for the Gamecocks is probably right now the worst in the conference. And Mo Kaba being out hurts. Debo Williams is trying to learn. They're going to have to recruit that position. Grayson Pup Howard out of Jacksonville right now looks like he could be starting, even though he's starting for his high school team. Looks like he could come in and start tomorrow if they could get a Gamecock jersey on him and change a few eligibility rules. So, there are things like that. We'll continue talking about this. We'll stay on the Love Chevy phone lines. A lot to do this morning. J.C. Shurburtt coming up at 7 o'clock as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The OGs of 107.5 The Game.
Jay Phillips, Heath Klein, and Tommy Moody.
Sharing their memories of 107.5 The Game and celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Just download the 107.5 The Game app or go to 1075thegame.com to check out the podcast.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Disabled vehicle I-77 northbound at Bluff Road should not really be causing any issues, but just be cautious in case people decide that they need to, hit the brakes and take a peek. Also, car versus deer incident getting cleaned up. Roberts Road at Harmon Road. Cold rain today, 51 for the high, mostly cloudy tomorrow. 60 will be our high, sunny and 51 for Thursday. Cloudy right now, expecting the rain to start mid-morning, and it's 50 at 107.5 Game.
Sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop the Black Friday sale for the gift of better sleep. You'll get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700 on select mattresses from top brands. Plus, they'll add a free adjustable base with qualifying purchase. Shop in stores or at mattressfirm.com.
The Men's Clinic is devoted to your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Dr. Dan Botnight and his staff want to help you restore your low testosterone. Hear from just a few of our patients.
My levels were way down, and I didn't know. I had no clue. Since coming to the men.
Oh, I think this is an interesting. There's got to be people that can call plays. Can they do it competently? I mean, look, you and I, we can go out and call plays, right? How hard is that to just? But I guess it's more of a matter of do they want to call plays? Yeah, we were thankfully we were in Lexington this past weekend. We had 2 games Sunday, and this is it for the the fall travel season. A few weeks off and into spring.
It's the sale you've been waiting for. 10,000 off new Rams. No payments till next year.
You want low rates?
2.9, 0.9, even 0% finance.
New Chargers, Challengers, Durangos, Rams. Over 300 new vehicles to choose from.
Bumps in your credit? Don't sweat it. I say you're approved.
One time down. Savings up to $10,000 off.
JTSide.com. Black Friday sales with us.
Got here from Traditions with good news from early Christmas shopping. We're ready to celebrate fantastic Black Friday on beautiful diamond jewelry. For starters, let's talk diamond stud here. We've got 1/2 carat.
Also kind of fascinated by that when people say it's his system. I mean, what is this system? Oh man.
How about diamond solitaire ring? 1 carat starts at just $14.99. Carat and a half.
Oh, stock honors. Oh wait, there it is.
2 carat diamond solitaire is just $39.99. Or how about a beautiful 1 carat total with 3 stone rings? Celebrate your past, your present, and your future. Just $14.99. We have the best selection and the best price. So if you need a Christmas gift that she'll cherish forever.
Oh yeah, I was looking at basketball related stuff because I just saw Maine. I've yet to do a good job. I just haven't gotten to my rhythm of college basketball yet.
Quitting smoking takes practice, and now you can get paid for that practice. Introducing the South Carolina Mini Quits are short, simple exercises to help you practice quitting tobacco. And each one is only $100. Enter the challenge now for free at miniquitchallenge.sc.com. We'll notify you when there's a challenge, and all you have to do is say yes to enter for your chance to win.
I think did Florida lose last night? Yeah, they did.
It's interesting. Had a caller who said he thought maybe it was on Gamecock Central. There was a conversation that in SEC games this season or in SEC games, there have not been lead changes.
I saw that tweet yesterday that South Carolina has not been involved in a lead change.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we need to score early.
That's right.
Which seems to be our biggest problem.
That does. Butler lost in basketball last night.
Yeah, I was watching the game for a while. I was like, come on, guys. So we're 1-1.
From the Heritage Chevrolet Studios, this is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you smile.
This is like your home of the Gamecocks.
The early game, 1075.
803-404-6100. We'll talk some college basketball coming up probably in the 8 o'clock hour. Rough night for the state of Florida last night, or Florida schools. Florida State in basketball loses to Troy 79-72. Seminoles have already lost to Stetson this year. And Florida last night, new coach Todd Golden down there for the Gators, they lose to Florida Atlantic last night 76-74. One other game, just to let you know, it's parity in college basketball now. Boston College, former Charleston coach Earl Grant, now up at Boston College. Boston College last night was a 20.5-point favorite. They lost to Maine last night, 69-64. So it gives you an idea. South Carolina set to take on Colorado State in the Charleston Classic this Thursday. We'll talk more about that in the 8 o'clock hour, and also as we kind of get you ready for that. Should be a lot of fun this weekend. Back out to the Love Chevy phone lines we go, though, talking a little football. Jonathan up this morning. Jonathan, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Hey, Bill, how's it going? Right now, it just, man, that was very disappointing loss. And I think the main thing was Lloyd wasn't there running. He's got a contusion on his leg or something. Maybe, do you have any idea when he may be back?
No, obviously we'll learn a little bit more. I would assume we'll learn today maybe a little bit more information. But I also just the way Shane Beamer handles injuries, I don't expect it unless Marshawn Lloyd is shockingly 100%, and Shane Beamer says that. I think you'll get a vague answer today that they're still seeing just what his availability will be.
It just seems whenever he's in the game, he's getting those extra where they gotta actually be able to, back off the line, not put 8 in the box on us, or even 5 in the box on us if he's going. It just seems like he's a big help to open other things up.
Yeah, I mean, look, they obviously the offense, Vanderbilt's defense is really bad, and South Carolina did get a little bit more creative in the Vanderbilt game. Did things obviously the De'Carrion Joyner play, Juice Wells made a big play, but the honest truth is since Marshawn Lloyd, not that South Carolina's offense was humming along to begin with, but since Marshawn Lloyd took that hit to the leg, the offense has gone into the gutter. I mean, it's just gone straight into the ditch, and it was already basically clunking along as was, and now you've taken out the one thing that seemed to be able to
running back who doesn't actually run into the back of their line. He'll at least freaking bounce off and take it outside or find another hole that is open.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Jonathan. Yeah, it's certainly is. You talk about this team and the offense, and again, the truth be told, the offense. It's not like the offense was humming along at any rate. But now you've taken Marshawn Lloyd out, and again, Shane Beamer will talk today at 1:30. You can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game. Jay and Terry will do that, and then have a little bit of commentary. And it's just Shane Beamer's nature. Unless Marshawn Lloyd is really ready to go, there's nothing wrong with him at all. I think you're going to get a very vague answer today, and it'll probably be a game time decision for him, and that's just what exactly it'll end up being. So we'll wait and see. We'll see what exactly the status is today as. Shane's going to have to address a lot. It's going to be an interesting press conference. We'll talk a little bit about that with J.C. Shurburtt coming up here in about 5 minutes. We'll give you a chance to win some tickets to the South Carolina-Tennessee game around 7:15 this morning. A lot to do as we cruise along Tuesday morning. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Welcome your guest into a clean, healthy home this Thanksgiving by calling the cleaning pros at Zerorez Carpet and Air Dug Cleaning. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Hey everyone, this is Jimmy Guthrie from Superior Kia in Orangeburg. Personally inviting you to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings. Everyone knows that out in the country, everything costs less, land costs less, houses cost less, and at Superior Kia in Orangeburg, new Kias cost less. But don't take my word for it. Go to SuperiorMotorsKia.com and see for yourself. Don't forget to click to unlock the deal of the day. Most importantly, at Superior Kia, we don't go to the big city auctions to buy cars. We'd rather buy local trade-ins from local people like you. That's why we price our new Kias so low. It's a win-win for everyone. You get a great deal on a new Kia, and we get our hands on a quality pre-owned trade-in. So if you want the best car at the best price with the best experience, you got to come out to the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North for some big country savings.
Remember, that's SuperiorMotorsKia.com, located on the Superior Auto Mile, Highway 301 North in Orangeburg.
Hello, I'm Roy Finley.
And I'm Dana Finley, owners of AAA Heating and Air.
South Carolina's crazy weather is hard on your HVAC system. If your unit is living on borrowed time, replace it now with AAA's best deal of the year.
AAA Heating and Air will give you an instant rebate of $1,500 plus 0% financing with no money down and a 15-year parts and labor warranty.
This offer is for a limited time. Get 15 years of worry-free operation. A $1,500 savings with 0% financing with no money down for qualified buyers. Call AAA today at 677-1500.
That's a $1,500 rebate, 0% financing, no money down. Call AAA today at 677-1500.
Like the weather, this offer won't last. Call today and we'll install your new unit tomorrow. Call 677-1500. That's 677-1500.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
At Camden Military Academy, cadets achieve their untapped potential in academics and life. Hear now one cadet's message to his parents.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I think what I really want to say is this place saved our family. Me coming here saved our family. We were in a very bad spot before, but I feel like you guys should have done this sooner, to be honest. But I love you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
To learn more, visit CamdenMilitary.com.
Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got them, they work well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. John at Dan's Fan City wants to remind you to make your ceiling fan move in reverse this time of year to keep the heat off the ceiling. See John for any questions and for all of your ceiling fan needs. Go to Dan's Fan City in Harbison or call him at 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. Safely drive that automobile. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
I'm all in on the old school look. The ties, everybody get dressed up. Your absolute Sunday best. I say have a throwback game for the fans where you got to dress like fans dressed in the 1940s.
And Jen Jensen.
Wear knickers to the game.
There you go. See that you wear that hat most of the time with knickers.
Yeah,
Payne Stewart was the one that used to wear it.
Today we're looking at something that no one seems to want to talk about, and that's underwear. Females wear knickers, males wear pants, kegs, or just plain underwear.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I say we have a throwback night.
Knickers for all.
Mm-hmm.
Again, females wear knickers.
That's just my suggestion. I'm going to push the throwback.
Well, how
look.
about you start the trend? You could actually model this. Like, go ahead and put your outfit together. We put it out. It'll become huge on social media.
Wearing my sister's panties became my dark secret. Using them felt pretty good.
The early game.
107.5 The Game.
Our number 2 of the early game, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and joined now by our good buddy, JC Shurburtt of thebigspur.com as we roll along. And, you know, we try to put the game this past weekend to bed, and we'll move ahead to Tennessee, obviously, later today. But, JC, you know, just thoughts on what we saw this past weekend. It's one thing to lose. I don't think anybody, South Carolina was, I don't think anybody was going to be disappointed or sad if South Carolina lost. But when you really don't play anything, you're not competitive from the first snap on, that's kind of gut-wrenching and hard to watch, and that's what occurred on Saturday.
Yeah, the game started, Bill. I thought, it was weird. Sometimes you see things and it's kind of an ominous sign. I thought the defense didn't really have the energy, I guess it normally does, when they go out there. Some good moments, couldn't get off the field. Some good moments on first and second down, couldn't get off the field on third. Guy's wide open. He hits it, after Darius Rush drops an interception that, upon further review, could have been a pick six. When he first did it, it looked like, oh, that's a tough ball, and he knocked it down. But, man, you got to come up with that after looking at it on review. And, they get gashed. And then there's absolutely no plan on offense. None. I mean, all the nice things we saw against Vandy just didn't happen. I mean, you've got a player like Austin Stogner that's now, it's like, what's so hard about getting your guys on the field? Why is this continuously an issue? And I don't understand it. And no matter what explanation is given, I'm not buying it. I just think it's incompetence. So Austin Stogner plays 4 plays, first half. Can you not use a guy like that? I mean, he's Rattler's target from Oklahoma. Give him something simple to execute. They just seem to want to run it with Jaheim Bell. I think the special teams gave them a spark. You feel bad for those players that are out there playing, and playing hard and making things happen. And then, the defense in the second half, like they normally do, made some adjustments. But, when you turn it over 3 straight times and continue to put them in, like, mission impossible type of positions, you're not going to win. And the sad part about it, Bill, is that, Florida, that looked like one of those old school Brad Scott, Florida Spurrier matchups, right down to the garnet helmets, which, just kind of what it reminded you of. It's just not competitive, but, Florida needed that win to get bowl eligible. They had coming into the game one of the worst defenses in the SEC. I think we all thought, just on the basis of Carolina having playmakers, that they pop one out or so, or maybe and score some points. But they got shut out, man. And when you get shut out by a good defense, I think like Clemson last year, you can handle that. That was a mismatch. This was not supposed to be a mismatch at all, and it's just unfortunate. I think a lot of frustration set in with the fan base. I know. I'm hoping that maybe today's press conference does not, it doesn't turn into something where, oh, we were close, play here, play there, because we've been hearing that for 23 games. And I just don't think the fan base is ready wanting to hear that right now. So I hope, for the sake of extreme negative overreaction, that maybe there's a little bit different message today. But that's really beside the point. I mean, that's just media stuff. I think the tell sign is going to come after the Clemson game, and we'll see what could be done to fix this at that point. But I think clearly after this performance, I mean, you can't, and I wrote last week, Bill, they need to build on the Vandy thing. Whatever they're doing against Vandy, that was, that work. And maybe they did call the same plays, but it certainly didn't look formationally or anything like that. It was, again, all between the hash marks. You're playing a fast defense. I mean, they just had no chance, and they were given no chance. I mean, if you think you're just going to go in there against the Gators and line up and run it with Jaheim Bell all day and get things going, I got another thing for you. And Spencer Rattler looks confused. He looks lost. He looks paralyzed. And, I don't think it's on him. I just, honestly, if you have to evaluate your guys' strengths and weaknesses and not force a square peg in a round hole. You got him for a reason because he's got big arm and all that. I understand, hey, it's great to think about getting him ready for the NFL, but this isn't an NFL training facility. It's a college football program. So the bottom line is winning and losing. And so, I don't think they've done him any favors. I feel bad for him. He continues to hustle. I thought trying to tackle that 413 pounder kind of showed that, he's a team player and he's in, and I don't question him, but they certainly have done him no favors. Guys like Juice Wells, I feel terrible for, Austin, like I mentioned, Austin Stogner was baffling. You've got to, especially, when your defense is giving up that many points or that many yards, you have to say, well, it's going to be a long day stopping these guys. Yeah, get points on the board, not just running up the middle. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing. I think it's, extremely disappointing. When you think about the Florida series, the last 12 games, there hasn't been a game like this. It's been somewhat competitive, and you go down there and just get thumped by a guy in his first year that everybody knows that was also up for the job at South Carolina. It's just not a good look. Nobody should be happy with it.
All that being said, and I think this is now what they would love to ask Shane Beamer. What's the point of keeping Marcus Satterfield for 2 more games? I know it's 2, but to me, JC, and tell me if I'm wrong or we can disagree on this, there's almost a point now where Shane Beamer can kind of save himself. He can buy himself a little bit of goodwill by making the move. And I know that people say, well, there's nobody on the staff that's ever called plays. Calling them competently, as we have learned, is difficult. Okay, you and I both agree on that. Calling them, but there are people that know how to call football plays on that staff. Justin Stepp has been around for a long time. Pete Limbo has been a head coach. Shane Beamer has coached tight. Like calling the actual play, it might stink, but do you agree with me? Just saying, hey, by making a public announcement, you at least you show your fan base, your administration, maybe even your team that this will not be dealt with, that we have a higher standard. We made fun of Dabo Swinney. We've made a lot of fun of Dabo Swinney through the years, but that slogan, what is it? Best is the standard. Right now, that is not the standard at South Carolina, and you're kind of allowing that standard to drop when you continue to have this same kind of performance each and every week.
Well, that's a tough one, and I understand everybody's frustration. I mean, you just heard me unload.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I think a lot of people these days are impatient. I think, freaking out right now because it's Tuesday before another game against the top 5 team, that he's not, throwing Satterfield to the wolves and, taking somebody in there that hadn't called plays and especially hadn't called this offense. That's probably the difficult part of it. Is, there's kind of came out of one guy's mind. If it were me, yeah, I'd have pulled the plug after Missouri, but I'm not a coach and I'm not in the building, and so I think that when you delay like this, it's bad short term in terms of the negativity and all that, and rightfully so. I mean, you can't expect everybody just to say everything's hunky dory. But I don't, I think as long as any kind of change comes out immediately after the regular season concludes, that's fine. Now, if you get in a situation like last year where they immediately hit the road recruiting and everybody's still on staff and everybody, I mean, that's a different matter because you have the portal coming open in December. There's recruiting that has to be done. You have to go hit the portal yourself. There needs to be some kind of resolution there relatively quickly. But I'm not on this now. Like I said, this is not what J.C. Shurburtt would have done. But I don't think that it's it's like egregiously bad that they're not punting with 2 games to go. All things considered. Now, the other side of that is, can it get any worse? Probably not. So That's another part. That, well, maybe you should just try it because it's not going to get any worse. But I think that a lot of the over-the-top Beamer can't make decisions. I mean, Bill, think about this. There's a lot of bad assistant coaches in South Carolina through the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good ones too. Only once in this century, since 2000, has there been an in-season coordinator change, and that was in 2005 when midway through the year Spurrier handed the defensive play calls off to Tyrone Nix, but Nix was already on staff and he was a co-coordinator. It was the same system. Nix just had a little bit better feel than John Thompson. So there's not a lot of precedent at this program for, changing it up, especially with 2 games to go. So now head coach is a different story. Head coach, you're making the move so you can get a jump on the thing. Everybody kind of resets. But coordinators, I mean, it just doesn't happen frequently. And usually when it does, it happens pretty early in the year. And you reset and go. Like Boise State changed coordinators this year and things got a lot better, but that was after game 3 or 4. G.A. Mangus took over the play calling the interim year that Elliott coached full time because it was kind of a hodgepodge. And that made a difference if you look at Carolina's offense. But that was when a head coaching change happened. So I just, I understand people's frustration, but there's not precedent there for it. So I'm not, I'm not out here with pitchforks because a change hasn't been made right now.
We'll get into a little bit more of that because that if the next question then is something you just mentioned, the transfer portal. Is there being communication with certain players? Hey, I understand you're frustrated now. Don't worry, we've got something coming. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll look ahead to Tennessee as well, and certainly we'll find some joy. We'll talk about the basketball program, JC. That was a big win on Friday night, so we will find our joy there in talking about the victory over Clemson. 803-404-6100 if you want to send in a text message. We'll get the phone calls in the 8 o'clock hour. But, Jen, right now, let's take caller number 6, a touchdown without the extra point. Caller number 6. It is time to give you a pair of tickets to the South Carolina-Tennessee game Saturday night. Caller number 6, 803-404-6100. It's the Carolina Honda Powerhouse Ticket Giveaway.
Call now to win Gamecocks tickets right here. 803-404-6100. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your source for Honda Power Sports. ATVs, motorcycles, side-by-sides, and generators. From your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
The game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
No major slowdowns to speak of right now. Great news for your Tuesday morning, and we are looking for cold rain today, 51 for the high. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, 60 for the high, and then we're hitting only 51 again on Thursday, but at least it'll be mostly sunny. Right now it is 50. Expecting that rain to be coming in mid-morning. 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. The sports world is still abuzz about Justin Jefferson's astonishing fourth quarter, 4th and 18 one-handed catch. He literally ripped the ball from cornerback Cam Lewis as he was falling to the ground. It was the greatest catch I had ever seen, folks. To me, it surpasses even David Tyree's helmet catch at Super Bowl 42 and Julian Edelman's Super Bowl 51 diving game changer. More in the next hour. I'm Boomer Esiason.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Sponsored by
Crazy.
Capital Home Builders.
Phones are still packed.
Leak could be a big problem. Capital Palmetto Builders has 22 years of experience in roofing repairs and maintenance. We're HAG certified, insured, and offering free inspections. Go to capitalpalmettobuilders.com and see why real professionals make all the difference.
The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet.
I think it's fair. That's what I was
and selling fast. So don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today. Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
Palmetto Propane, a family-owned company, has been delivering propane to homes and businesses for more than 60 years. With professional installation, exceptional service, and premium gas log and outdoor fire features, we're proud to be South Carolina's leading full-service propane and fuel provider. And our online payment and scheduling give you the access you need anytime, anywhere. Visit us at palmettopropane.com to connect with us and to find a location near you.
This basketball season and every basketball season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
We've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Hey, sports fans, score a rewarding new career and great employee benefits with South Carolina Department of Corrections. There's increased pay for many positions and sign-on bonuses starting at $7,500. They're hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today. Strengthening the lives of children and families is a passion. Turn that passion into results as a child welfare case manager. Learn more at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Bo Jackson talks about his greatest accomplishment.
July 21st, 1990, I took third strike on purpose right down the pipe, turned around, had a few choice words with the umpire. He proceeded to toss me out of the game, spent the rest of the day with my wife and my baby girl, who was born that morning at 6:30 a.m.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
On ours for a second.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by and shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
Rolling along on a Tuesday morning as we get you up, out the door. Supposed to be chilly and rainy today. That usually means it's good chili weather, actually. So if you've got a good chili recipe, I would
That doesn't sound bad.
send that in. Send that in. We got to find some joy somewhere, JC. And I will say this: last Friday night, Colonial Life Arena. That was the fans did a good job. They showed up. Very good environment. Basketball team showed up. Got a little hairy there at the very end, but Chico Carter Jr. nice little turnaround fadeaway, and This basketball team's going to be, I don't know what their record's going to be, but they will, I think, be entertaining to watch. At least that's what I've seen through the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, look, I was talking to a friend of mine, Bill, and I was like, they're kind of cool to watch because it's a little bit different looking team, right? You got Hayden Brown and his look, and he hustles and plays extremely hard, probably as hard as anybody since like Sendarius and Michael Carrera and those guys under Frank Martin. And then you got a bunch of other guys that, sometimes it kind of looks like a pickup game out there. Just not style of play wise, or that they're not coached well, but because they are coached very well, but just kind of like you just kind of put together a team and go, and that's kind of how it is. But they're scrappy. You got a bunch of scrappy guys that hustle, that some have reasonable skill levels, and then a lottery pick or potential lottery pick that doesn't even shave yet. He kind of looks. You look and you kind of get an idea when they put the close up on him on TV how young that guy really is. But he's a special talent, and I think that losing to Clemson in men's basketball has not sat well over the years with anybody that cares about the program. Historically, South Carolina has a lead in the overall series. They dominated it early, but since the Frank McGuire era, Clemson's had a significant advantage in that series. So first time since 2014, they've beaten them at Colonial Life Arena. I thought that was, that win was as big as it gets now. So the question becomes, what are you going to do with it? A pretty good field in Charleston this week, starting with Colorado State. Nico Medved's team was a tournament team last year, but according to the ESPN prediction machine, the Gamecocks are favored. I don't know what the line is on it, but you got that, and then against the College of Charleston winner versus, I don't know who they play in the first
Davidson.
Hugh
Davidson.
Mm-hmm. So the Charleston-Davidson winner, and then on that other bracket, you got Furman, you got Virginia Tech, you got Penn State. So a chance to get some quality wins here early, and then you kind of look down the road, Bill, and there's not. And this was smart. I mean, you didn't want to overschedule this team at all. And you kind of look down the road, and you got Upstate, you got the 2 games in D.C., Presbyterian, at UAB can be tricky. East Carolina and Greenville, Western Kentucky, Eastern Michigan. So there's a chance to run up a pretty good record, I think, in the pre-conference, and then the SEC obviously. Will always be difficult, especially for right now with all the talent and good coaches in the league. So, I think it's important just to win as many games as you can. This team will continue to gel. I think they also need to get healthy. Michi Johnson in particular, he means a lot. But you got to be happy for a guy like Chico Carter. When Chico, I don't know what the deal it was with him and Frank Martin. Probably something to do with defense, I would guess. Because when Chico played last year, he would score. And so you got to be happy for a guy like him. I think he was 2 for 12 in the opener. Comes back with a big night. And obviously the game-winning shot was huge. And the crowd was really good, I thought. I think the crowd showed up at the Colonial Life Arena. So, you just got to keep taking it one game at a time. And like I said, get as many wins as you can in the pre-conference and try to gel. And then let the chips fall where they may. But, I don't know how many games they're going to win this year. I don't know what's realistic and what's not. I certainly think this group is a fun group to watch, and I think the style of offense that Lamont Paris employs is a little bit more fun to watch sometimes than, what was previous here. Nothing wrong with what Frank Martin did, but, I think this is kind of a different style and, kind of a breath of fresh air, I think, for the fan base. Certainly who Lamont Paris is himself. He's kind of Mr. Calm and cool, which is different than obviously what happened before. And again, I'm one of the biggest Frank Martin guys out there, but I think that for what this program needs, a win over Clemson, a guy like Gigi on the floor, other South Carolina kids out there competing, like a Hayden Brown and Chico Carter and guys like that, seeing Josh Gray pick up 10 boards in the game. Wow. You know, because we know Josh Gray athletically can be really, really good. You know, that kind of thing. They're all encouraging signs of improvement and having things head in the right direction.
I know people probably didn't pay attention. A lot happened over the weekend. You mentioned that schedule. Just circle December 30th on your calendar. I've got a feeling everybody might want to be at Colonial Life Arena. Did you see what Amani Bates did in his debut for Eastern Michigan on Friday night? JC?
I did not see it, but I heard he's a special player.
30 points against Michigan. Bates, the one-time top recruit in the country, went to Memphis last year, transferred to Eastern Michigan. A special talent, made his debut for Eastern Michigan against Michigan. Eastern Michigan lost 88-83, and Bates was 12 of 19 from the field. He should hopefully he stays out of trouble and doesn't get hurt and all those fun things.
Yeah.
And he will be at Colonial Life Arena December 30th. That will Bates versus G.G. Jackson will actually be a really, really entertaining game. A lot of games to play between now and then, but that was something a guy who didn't really have the best year at Memphis last year, found a better situation there at Eastern Michigan, but certainly with this basketball team. Real quick, and we'll go back to football there in the next segment and get back into that offensive thing and those questions I wanted to ask you. But what you were just talking about, the basketball team, it is interesting. You mentioned the bracket this weekend. Colorado State, this is going to be a great matchup for South Carolina. We continue to learn about them beating Clemson. I don't know if Clemson's going to be any good. I have no clue what Brad Brunell is really working with up there. Nico Nedved, though, is a very highly thought of coach. He is replacing several players on his roster. Yeah, you look at those first two games, and man, I'd love to see Friday night. I'm trying to see if there's an actual time that is listed, like if they have the breakdowns of the times, what time it would be if South Carolina and College of Charleston can play in the winners bracket there on Friday night. Pat Kelsey's a fantastic coach, a guy that I love, but that would be a fantastic game down there. Let's see here. It is. I think if I'm which way goes which way here. I think it's 7:30 Friday night would be that game, if I'm looking correctly.
Yeah. You got a lot of coaches with ties to state. I mean, Medved was at Furman. Bob Ritchie's got his team down there. Pat Kelsey is a name everybody's familiar with. Mike Youngs was at Wofford's coaching Virginia Tech. So it's going to be interesting because, you know, there's a lot of guys that whose names have been thrown out for the Carolina job through the years. Just maybe by fans or whatever, but a lot of guys that the Gamecock fans are familiar with coaching-wise in that tournament. So I noticed that, Bill, when the bracket came out. I was like, oh boy, this is pretty interesting, you know. So that's going to be a heck of a tourney, and I think it represents an opportunity for the Gamecocks to continue some early season momentum and possibly get some quality wins.
If you want to go down there, the tournament gets going. Charleston Classic down there. It'll start Thursday morning, 11:30. Furman and Penn State. That'll be followed with Old Dominion, Virginia Tech at 2, South Carolina, Colorado State at 5, and Davidson, Charleston at 7, or, you know, about 30 minutes after the South Carolina game. Should be a lot of fun, so we'll keep an eye on that throughout the week. When we come back, we'll get back into football discussion. JC and I will talk about, I want to ask his opinion of what I brought up in the first segment. All right, no change being made at offensive coordinator, but you've got maybe some disgruntled players. We'll talk about that and get JC's take on if players are at least being kept in the loop as to what's going on, because, JC, I brought it up. It's the future of the program, not just the next 2 games in the bowl game, but moving forward, the 2023 team that you still got to worry about as well. We'll talk about that. You're listening to JC Shurburtt, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
No accidents to report at this time. Great Tuesday morning in that respect, but it is kind of cloudy, and we're expecting the rain to be starting in sometime mid-morning. It's going to be a cold rain today. 51 for the high, 60 tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies. And sun comes back out for Thursday, and a high of 51. Right now, though, like I said, it's overcast and 50 at 107.5 The Game.
Look who's here. It's DK Joyner. Hey, man, welcome to the studio. So, DK, you dropped by here to tell us about Midas Auto Service and Tires in the Midlands, didn't you?
That's right, Terry. I've been to Midas numerous times in the last several years. They're the pro in total car care, maintenance, brakes, tires, oil, and everything.
Hey everyone, this is Gus Herlong. Our family for almost 15 years has made Midas Auto Service and Tires #1 in the Midlands. Our team takes care of you, period. We have 26 locations across South Carolina and North Florida. Come see us today at one of our 8 locations in the Midlands.
It's a fact. Midas is the best in the Midlands in auto service, or the expert team at the Herlong's 8 locations. Every time I take my car to Midas, the service is just unbeatable, Gus. Midas does it right the first time and every time.
Appreciate it, DK. And for all you football fans out there, do like DK. Go to Midas.com, schedule an appointment, see additional savings we have, and utilize one of our Midas courtesy vehicles for your convenience during your visit.
Take it from DK Joyner. Midas.
Zach, I agree, but I don't think that this team doesn't have that mentality or the coach mentality of that. But I do agree with you that should be the mentality, but it's not. It won't be.
Over 300 new vehicles to choose from. Bumps in your credit? Don't sweat it. I say you're approved. One time down. Savings up to $10,000 off. JTStars.com. Black Friday sales event. This could be the best Christmas ever. Hi, I'm Travis McNeil. At Oliver Gonzalez.
What was the question? I apologize.
Center and our Women's and Children's Center, Toby's Place. Your donations make a daily impact as we provide life skills, jobs, and
Did I miss a question?
enjoy this holiday season by donating $35 today at olivergospel.org. Let's celebrate Christ this Christmas.
Welcome your guests into a clean, healthy home this Thanksgiving by calling the cleaning pros at Zero Res Carpet and Air. Okay.
Chili sounds good.
What?
Yeah, I'm thinking chili sounds good.
Yeah. Yep. I had a small cup last night from LJ's, and it was pretty good. But I'd kind of like to make my own. So I might try and get home by like it because it's like you said, it's gonna rain. We're not gonna have soccer tonight, so maybe I get home by 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Put it in the crock pot, let it cook for about 3.5 hours. Have it ready for 7 o'clock tonight. There's basketball on. Should be college football on too.
Mother-in-law comes in today.
Oh, you are a lucky lady.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Or maybe she's lucky. She gets to hang out with her daughter-in-law. That is a lucky lady.
She is. She is indeed. She knows it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Venison chili.
I think so. She's not bad.
Wait a minute. I kept saying this incorrectly now. What is veal? Is veal?
Veal is like lamb, isn't it?
Well, it's not what I was thinking it was because we Saturday about 1 o'clock. About 1 o'clock, we were sitting outside watching football, and probably about a 6 or 8 point buck went running in between the lake and my back porch. And you know where I live, Jen. You've seen that like that. But yeah, and so we were kind of joking. And I've had a little bit of I don't think I've ever had veal. And the one time I ate venison, this is a true story. I went to a Super Bowl party on a Sunday night. And Jen, I don't know if you remember, this was when Tim was in. I'll never forget, I had to call Tim. I got sick. I ate that like venison chili.
Oh.
So I think that's the only time I've ever had that. But yeah,
Actually, baby calf.
Is that what veal is?
Yeah, I just looked it up. For some reason I was thinking, but no, I'm wrong. It is. It's a baby calf. Or, well, I guess baby.
Well, I kept referring to it because if the deer would have veered further right, it would have just gone on in the house and destroyed my house.
That wouldn't have been good.
If it would either hit Jim or I too. If the freaking deer would have hit one of us.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right. I was wrong all week. I should have been saying we'd have venison, not veal.
Yes, thank you for the correction, Chuck. Okay. I've always been a little confused.
7:37 on a Tuesday morning. JC Shurburtt, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. As you can join us, you can go to the live stream where we were trying to figure out the difference. Well, we weren't trying to figure out the difference. We know the difference between venison and veal. And if you ever want to go to our live stream, the conversation off air tends to take a bunch of twists and turns. And there's just a little, you got to kind of, it's a little bit of an inside joke, but you got to go and be a part of the live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, weigh in as Chuck, Craig, Kelly, Hope, Stephen, Larry, a bunch of people weighing in there on our live stream. JC Shurburtt joining us on the Love Chevy phone lines, and back to some football discussion as it pertains to South Carolina. And, JC, that's kind of the discussion point there is this isn't just about the remaining two games against Tennessee and Clemson and then the bowl game. There's a lot of guys who have options now because of the transfer portal, but also because of the NFL. You mentioned the guy that you felt bad for earlier, Juice Wells. That's the other portion of this, and why I wonder if you make a move now to show players or to let them know, because you and I, we're not dumb to this. It's very easy for a coach to maybe contact a high school coach and say, hey, if Jaheim Bell's not real happy there, we might have a spot for him. That's another reason I think you might have to be a little bit more proactive than usual. What's your take right now on the mindset of this roster moving into December and potentially 2023?
Yeah, I mean, you can't let it linger. I mean, my point is that, the next 10 days or 11 days or however, I mean, I don't know that that's going to make a difference, especially, if the results remain the same, which they probably would be. I think that what you have to do is, communicate internally with your guys and all that if they ask. But you have to think about this too. They're not just. I think everybody knows it's going to be a tough challenge the next 2 weeks, right? But when you're a football coach, your focus is on playing well and competing with the games you have left, and all that other stuff. I think if it's an issue that comes up, it definitely should be addressed. I mean, that's part of being a head coach and all that. But I think what people I think we all sit here and go, well, there's a limited chance for victory, right? Given the current situation. But they're not going to think that inside, and no good coach is. No good coach is going to sit there and be like, well, guys, what we're going to do is just, scrap everything and go out and, kind of just mail it in these next 2 weeks, and then we'll get a new OC and reset or whatever. I think, you have to try, and you have to. My dog doesn't agree with me, but you have to try, and you have to, continue to, try to play the best you can, and obviously, not making a move is probably, part of that, considering that, we only have 2 games left. But I think as far as all that other stuff goes with the portal and all that, there's a lot of people on that staff that have great relationships with these players, including Coach Beamer. So I would be very surprised if it just any sort of complaint or disgruntlement would just fell on deaf ears, because I don't see these guys that are the coaches there, and I'm talking on field, off field, wherever, just like letting that slide. I think they realize everybody's frustrated and all that, but you got to kind of hold it together at this point. And that's one thing I have faith that they're doing. I don't think he's just letting everything go and and all that. I think that they're probably communicating and stuff like that. But I'll say this: I don't want people to think I'm just saying that nobody's going to transfer, because I definitely can't rule that out, and I can't rule out that a guy that maybe we all like as a player won't transfer, or maybe 2 of them. So there will be attrition. But I do think one thing, Bill, you can say about this staff and Beamer is, through 2 off seasons so far, this will be the third. They've done a heck of a job keeping everybody kind of, for the most part, intact. You had a little wave of guys that left when Muschamp left. Last year, Colby Fields hits the portal, but I mean, heck, he's a Louisiana kid, and LSU had lots of spots, so that makes sense. Jamar Brown's probably the other one that you say, yeah, that guy could have played, but he probably needed a fresh start, Bill, because he had an amazing game against Troy, and then had a very embarrassing play, and then never really played again, and they couldn't really decide if he's a safety or a linebacker. He's injured a lot, so you kind of look at it, and Beamer's done a really good job of keeping players in the program, that kind of thing. South Carolina has not been hit with portal attrition. But I'll also say this, the portal works both ways, and you look at LSU and to a lesser extent Arkansas and then Ole Miss, and, a lot of teams like that have lost guys, and then they backfilled, and South Carolina had a top, 10 transfer class last year, and you get a new offensive coordinator in there that runs something fun and exciting that's easy to learn and easy to go execute, that showcases your talent. There's no reason, even if they do lose some players, they can't go get players. So that's the silver lining. I just look around, and I look like last year, you go, man, Arkansas and Ole Miss are getting killed in the portal, or LSU is getting killed in the portal. But that didn't really slow their roll this year, did it?
No, and I guess the point here is it's the future of the program. It is the future of the program, and because one thing I've tried to say this week is I know that this weekend was difficult. I know that the season is maybe not going to be what people hoped for necessarily, but what I do take away is there have been positive things. Becoming bowl eligible back-to-back years, getting those practices, you got to hold on to this recruiting class. You have a very nice recruiting class lined up at this point. You're in there for a few more guys. Maybe you can get a little bit higher than 15th. There are positive things, and that's why, as you just pointed out, kind of the next, 14 days, really, the next 2 weeks, when we get to that Tuesday after the Clemson game, you kind of want to move forward with the staff or whatever you're going to have if you're going to make changes, because you can still build on what has happened this year and take another step next year.
Yeah, that's why I think there's a small subset of fans that are ready to just, pull the plug on everything. And I think that's a lot that's very much misguided. I think a lot of folks that feel that way are impatient, and they want a head on a stick right now, and anything else, mommy, give me my milk, whatever, it's really babyish, but that's the world we live in. And I understand that, because if you're passionate as a fan, you're concerned, Bill, it's going to end up being 25 games of this after the Clemson game. It's 23 right now.
Right.
I think we've I think there's enough of a body of work in games to tell us what needs to happen. Everybody, some of us saw it sooner than others, and that's fine. I mean, I hate being right about this. I hate it, and I was willing to kind of buy and say, well, if you didn't have any players, good. So now you got some players. Let's see what happens. And it's arguably worse when you consider the players they have now versus, what they had last year. And it's not getting any better. It gets better for a game and then not. So I agree. I mean, this is the future of the program. I don't think this era is sinking. I think sometimes, I do feel like when you look at this season, it was a lost opportunity, because you did have players. You did do a good job in the portal. You do have guys that got a lot better individually. But hey, it happens. It's not about what happens in life or in football. It's how you respond. I think everybody, for the most part, that's not completely out of their minds with impatience right now and sheer disappointment and dread over the next 2 weeks. They want to see, Beamer respond. And I think he has to. So, we'll see what happens. I just think they need a completely different plan on offense. And I'll remind everybody, Will Muschamp won 9 games his second year and fired his OC. So there's precedent out there for guys going, wait a minute, this is not working. Let's make a change. Now, I think everybody kind of hopes, things go in a different direction than that era. But this is not something that's way out of the ordinary, or because Shane was never a head coach, or because or because he's getting paid less than everybody. I mean, there's a lot of crap out there that is not relevant to the subject. But yeah, I mean, you have to respond, and you're right, Bill, because I think the longer this goes after the Clemson game, the worse it's going to get. And at that point, the people that are impatient are going to have a good gripe.
He's J.C. Shurburtt, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The OGs of 107.5 The Game.
Jay Phillips, Heath Klein, and Tommy Moody.
Sharing their memories of 107.5 The Game and celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Just download the 107.5 The Game app or go to 1075thegame.com to check out the podcast.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
No accidents to report, no major tie-ups this time. The rain's going to be coming in mid-morning, and it's going to be cold rain today, 51 for the high. Clearing out for tomorrow, just going to have some residual clouds, 60 for the high, and by Thursday, that is, mostly sunny and a high of 51. We're at 50 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Indeed.com. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Life matters. Are the days when every mistake could be erased by demanding a do-over? A bad throw, a bad kick could be erased by the declaration. Too bad we can't declare a do-over on most other things, but God offers something magnificent we can draw upon: forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean there are no consequences to our mistakes, but it does mean 2 things. The guilt is transferred to Jesus, and he helps us as we navigate the effects of our wrongdoing. We all need do-overs, and while this gift of forgiveness is not as simplistic as it was on the playground, it's more wonderful than we imagined. This is Stephen Chitty from Christian Life Church. Visit us at ChristianLifeColumbia.com to learn more about this divine offer. We're learning together that life matters, friend, and so do you. Go to CLColumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service.
Yeah, I need more chili recipes here.
Now available at QC Connect. I'm tired of the anti-surgeon right now, and I don't want buddies if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call. Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue. We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where it couldn't normally get to, and facilitate healing. Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments. What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself? Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 803.
There you go. Yeah, good. That's what I'm going to go to the store later.
I'm here with Jacob Rupp, one of our listeners is the mortgage guru. Hearing about mortgage rates right now, Jacob, what's the market telling you? Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well informed and have to deal with your quick. Work with the local bank.
I'm doing my coffee. Oh gosh.
need an expert. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crawford, 803-719-1005. First Federal Bank, for housing lender. Member FDIC, and all other sentences. NMLS number 19842. O'Hara's Public House is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Log on to 1075thegame.com. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to O'Hara's for just $25. It's time for our Sweet Bids auction. Kick off your holiday shopping by bidding on delightful items and services from wonderful local businesses at incredibly discounted prices. Get a palm tree plus installation from Midland's Landscaping and Lawn. A spectacular glass shop.
I have had some white chicken. I've got a recipe right here on my phone.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air.
I hope I still have it actually. Keto. Wait, no. Shredded chicken chili. It is good too. Yeah, Steven, you're right. They're trying to redshirt Luke Doty. They can't play him anymore.
Wrapping up hour number 2 with JC Shurburtt here as we roll through a Tuesday morning. Again, reminding you'll hear from Shane Beamer coming up at 1:30 today, his weekly press conference with the media where he will address a couple things. JC, one thing that we will kind of be tuned in to listen to there is the status of Marshawn Lloyd. And I got to, at some point, you got to hope he's back because the offense wasn't exactly humming to begin with, but it's really cratered without Marshawn Lloyd. And it's strange. I don't really get not giving Rashad Amos more of an opportunity. I don't know Lavassier Carroll and where he stands with understanding of the offense and what he can do. I know he's been playing special teams. It is a little strange, though, to not see those guys. But, man, South Carolina does have to have Marshawn Lloyd back to have any hope, I think, against Tennessee or Clemson.
Yeah, I think getting Lloyd back would be big. If you kind of watched the Missouri game before he got the thigh bruise, he didn't have much room, but he was kind of running around guys. And he has that kind of ability to where he can get his yards regardless. They do miss him quite a bit. We can all question the wisdom of hitching your wagons to one player like that, but yeah, and I'm with you on the other backs. I mean, nothing against Jaheim Bell. I'm happy he's getting the ball finally, but I think he's at his best out in space where you can throw him passes and give him 4 or 5 handoffs a game just to kind of switch it up. And I'm not sure he's comfortable running into a brick wall like he is and all that. But yeah, I mean, even guys like Dante Miller, who is a little bigger than Juju, could be options. But you know what? You wouldn't have to use those guys all that much if you'd have kind of stuck with what you were doing against Vandy, because they handed it off to how many people? Leggett got a couple of carries, Juice got a carry, Amari and Brown. He didn't see any of that against Florida. He didn't. It wasn't even an attempt. And so, and that's kind of what I was worried about, because I was like, well, they normally don't really stick to the same thing over and over, in terms of how it looks. So maybe they do. Maybe it just didn't work. So who knows?
That's a good way to wrap up hour number 2. We look forward. We'll get you back on Thursday, and at that point, we'll look ahead to Tennessee. Maybe we'll be a little bit more positive there. We'll also talk some basketball as the Gamecocks and Colorado State. We'll hook up on the hardwood down in Charleston on Thursday. JC, always appreciate it, buddy. Glad the dog wanted to join you this morning, Red, the old dog, and we will catch up with you this week.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Take care. JC Shurburtt of thebigspur.com. We will come back. Hour number 3, we'll talk a little college basketball. And if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. The early game, 175 the game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary as Columbia's sports talk station.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
1075 The Game.
A Cumulus Media Station.
Hi, Scott here from Traditions with good news for you early Christmas shoppers, because we're ready to celebrate with 2 weeks of fantastic Black Friday deals on beautiful diamond jewelry. For starters, let's talk diamond stud earrings. We've got 1/2 carat total weight studs for just $3.99, 1 carat total weight studs just $9.99, and 2 carat total weight diamond studs. That's right, 1 carat diamond in each ear for just $24.99. And how about diamond solitaire rings? 1 carat starts at just $14.99, carat and a half's just $29.99. And 2 carat diamond solitaires just $39.99. Or how about a beautiful 1 carat total weight 3-stone ring to celebrate your past, your present, and your future? Just $14.99. We have the best selection and the best prices. So if you need a Christmas gift that she'll cherish forever, come see us, save big, and get the diamond jewelry of your dreams. That's now through Thanksgiving weekend, only at Traditions on Sunset in Lexington and at the Fountain at Sandhills, where the Midlands.
Approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details.
One time down and you're driving at JT's Jeep Ram.
It's the sale you've been waiting for. 10,000 off new Rams. No payments till next year.
You want low rates?
2.9, even 0% financing.
New Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Compass, Rams. Over 300 new vehicles to choose from.
Bumps in your credit? Don't sweat it. I say you're approved.
One time down. Savings up to $10,000 off.
JT'sJeepRam.com. Black Friday sales
Hi,
event.
my name is John, and I'm self-employed, and we got sidetracked on our taxes at the 2008 recession, and it became a monster that we couldn't tackle ourselves. We heard about the Ecton Law Firm on the radio and contacted John. If you could classify someone as a miracle worker, I would put him at the top of the list, because he took our problem and resolved it for us with our not only our unpaid taxes, but our unfiled tax returns from previous years. And I would highly recommend the Ecton Law Firm.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be
Just
glad.
how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Summit Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at sunnyauto.com.
New Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Welcome your guests into a clean, healthy home this Thanksgiving by calling the cleaning pros at Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZeroRiskColumbia.com.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
I will never forget asking Will Muschamp what he does for entertainment. He's like, we don't vacation around here. I was like, all right, this interview is going well. So anyway, earlier I was talking about how good I think Heath is at interviewing people and getting answers. And so I was making that joke, and I thought on the fly, first thing that popped into my mind was tickling people.
And Jen Jensen.
I just really don't even know where to go with that. That's the first thing that came to mind, not about having intuitive questions, being insightful, and having done research.
He's a big teddy bear at the end of the day. Big teddy bear.
On your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
(803-404-6100) if you want to weigh in. Several of you doing that this morning. Yeah, a lot there. I mean, there's just so many different opinions of the offense and what should be done, what will be done, what needs to be done, the impact that it's going to have on players that are currently on the roster. You know, the impact that it'll have on guys that are being recruited. there's going to have to be significant changes. A couple of you have weighed in this morning on Dabo Sweeney making a change with Billy Napier, who was a good friend of his. A good buddy of mine, Ed, sending in a text message saying Dabo had to fire Billy and Kevin Steele in his second and third year, and he was tight with Napier. Brian weighing in also on our text line and said, didn't Dabo fire Napier during his first or second season? So, yeah, I mean, this is some of the stuff that it's very correctable. It really is very correctable. That's why I think you can say South Carolina's got some pieces here, and the recruiting class is going well and making the bowl game. It keeps some momentum going. I did say yesterday, and I do believe it, you do need to be very careful, I think, in this situation as it pertains to not letting the next 2 weeks take away from some of the things that have been built in the first 2 years of the Shane Beamer era. And, you know, you South Carolina can certainly pull the upset. I think there are players there that, especially if you get Marshawn Lloyd back, and I think the defense right now is banged up, but who knows? Never say never. I'll be honest, probably will not pick. We'll see what the line ends up being by the time we get to Friday and Patrick Perrette make our picks for the week. I took Florida last week to cover the 8.5, and lo and behold, I got that one. Just kind of glancing real quick here at my my picks for last week. Looks like I went 1-2. I had Florida, TCU, lost the Louisville game, had Mississippi, lost LSU, and I'm pretty sure I hit SMU. So I would have gone 4-2 last week in our picks. But it's hard to pick South Carolina right now. For me, it's hard to pick them to beat Tennessee, and it's hard for me to pick South Carolina to really score against Clemson up there at Memorial Stadium in 2 weeks. But you just never know what happens. But the offensive coordinator situation right now is a dark cloud hanging over the program. And obviously, as I can tell from the text line, and we've heard from the phone lines when people have called in, it is a big point of contention for South Carolina fans and what they want to see moving forward. So obviously, we'll continue to talk about that. Shane Beamer again speaks today at 1:30 over at the football athletic building there. I know some of you are going, why? Maybe he'll address it. Maybe he won't. I don't see him doing that. And I see him talking about it. And there are probably going to be things said that are not what people want to be said. I don't know if he's going to come out and just rip Marcus Satterfield. I think he'll call it a team effort and say that as a group they have to coach better. So we'll wait and see. But again, you can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game coming up later today, 1:30. Jay and Terry will have that for you. And then we'll have a complete breakdown of what's said. And again, we'll be listening a little bit for the injury situation as well. Marshawn Lloyd, again, not that I expect Shane Beamer, unless Lloyd is just 100% definitely to go. I really do not expect Shane Beamer to come out and say anything as it pertains to the actual status. To me, that's going to end up being a game time decision. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning if you want to choose to do so. Harry says our defense stinks too. True, but the defense is battling a lot of injuries. And that's one thing. Again, I've said it. I keep throwing R.J. Roderick in there just because he was a starter, not because I think that he was the better option than Nick Eamon-Wari or DQ Smith. But when you do lose your best linebacker in Mo Kaba, you do lose Jordan Strong. David Spalding, we know what he did in the one time he was really able to be healthy there against Kentucky and make the big play. You got three guys like that are big parts. And then, R.J. Roderick certainly, again, if anything, would be a depth piece to your back group. You're talking about four guys that you were counting on in mid-August as starters to be playing, and they aren't there. But Harry is right. The defense does need to be a little bit better, and we'll see if that's something that happens moving forward. There were, by the way, reports yesterday just talking about coaching changes. A lot of Auburn websites are, whether they're accurate or not remains to be seen. We'll know in about 2 weeks. But a lot of people kind of hinting that Lane Kiffin is in negotiate. I guess Lane Kiffin's agent is in negotiations with Auburn. And the general feeling coming out of Auburn is that Lane Kiffin will be the next coach there. Something just to keep an eye on as we go through the next few weeks. Certainly would be a blow to Mississippi with the way he's been able to build that program up, but just something to keep an eye on as we move forward. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can weigh in. There is some college basketball tonight. Not a bad little schedule. Tonight really is the first night things really kind of pick up and get going. We've got the Champions Classic tonight. Look forward to that. Michigan State and Kentucky will be the first game there, 7 o'clock. Kentucky up to number 4 in the polls. These will be played in Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of the Pacers there. Gainbridge Fieldhouse is where they'll have that. That'll be the first one, 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Winthrop, in-state Winthrop, heading down to Auburn. Just talked about Auburn. They are currently number 13 in the polls, and they will host Winthrop tonight on the SEC Network. Then at 9 o'clock, the second portion of the Champions Classic tonight will take place, and this will be actually a pretty good one. Number 6 Kansas taking on number 7 Duke. So the first time we really get to see John Shire and what he can do as a head coach. Kansas without Bill Self, who's been suspended currently. That game, again, will be about 30 minutes after the tip-off or after the conclusion of Michigan State and Kentucky. So a lot of basketball tonight as we really kind of get going. Again, Thursday is when you get South Carolina. Thursday is when you get South Carolina going down to Charleston for the Charleston Classic down there, taking on Colorado State. Should be a fun tournament and an opportunity to see South Carolina get some quality opponents. Colorado State's a good one on Thursday. Friday will be either Davidson or Charleston, and then we'll see what comes out of the other side of the bracket there. Also coming up on Thursday night, South Carolina will travel. Dawn Staley's team will travel to Clemson to take on the Tigers up there at Little John Coliseum. That game will be 6 o'clock on the ACC network. So number 1 ranked South Carolina traveling up to Clemson as well on November 17th, which is this coming Thursday night. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. I'll get back to the text lines, and we will also take a couple phone calls. If you want to weigh in, you can give us a call on the Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. I'll get to those text messages. Albert, Matt, Jamie, Chaz, we'll get to all those when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Getting healthy, being able to go out and enjoy life, especially maybe the big football Thanksgiving party you have or the big football game you have on Thanksgiving. You need to be healthy and ready to score touchdowns on your Aunt Edna and spike the ball, do a little dance. But if you've been suffering from some joint pain and you're now questionable for the family football game on Thanksgiving, call QC Kinetics today. Get in touch with their professional doctors and see how they can help you with cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. They can do all this without drugs, without pain medications, without surgery. QC Kinetics is taking care of people each and every day. Give them a phone call today to get your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. 281-6860. This is all natural treatments that can get you lasting relief. People have been raving about the results that they're getting from QC Kinetics. And if you've been suffering from issues with your ankles, with your knees, with your hips, you got some arthritis, call QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics. Get your life back with the help of their regenerative treatments. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Just one accident to let you know about. I-20 westbound at the Fairfield Road. The right lane currently blocked. Again, the right lane blocked. I-20 westbound at Fairfield Road. And your forecast for today, we're looking for that cold rain. Well, we're not really looking for it, but it's coming. Rain should be starting probably mid-morning, and then that'll be continuing throughout the day. It's 51 for the high, mostly cloudy tomorrow. 60 will be our high. It's overcast right now, and 50 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. In overtime of Minnesota's victory at Buffalo, the Bills had 12 men on the field when Dalvin Cook was stuffed on 1st and goal from the 2. The NFL also admitted that Gabe Davis's 20-yard catch with 20 seconds in regulation should have been reviewed and would have been overturned. Bill Belichick wants coaches' challenges at all times, and I agree with the hoodie. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Buying a home? Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you with Inflation Buster. That's more road trips, more front row seats. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you get exclusive savings when you refinance with Rate Drop Advantage. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 833-7ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving.
For fees, covered rate, like date requirements, and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com. Call 1-833-7ROCKET, equal housing lender license in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
It's Pro Time, which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, earn 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points offer valid 10/27 through 12/8. Calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. See Lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell is sorry for going too far with its past breakfast. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food, like a breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, cheese, sausage, hash browns wrapped in a warm tortilla. Grab one at participating Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last.
With approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details.
One time down and you're driving at JT's Jeep Ram.
It's the sale you've been waiting for. 10,000 off new Rams. No payments till next year.
You want low rates?
2.9.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, when they even referenced the Brian Kelly's accents, the latest accent or whatever, they got a lot in. It's pretty funny. I watched a news report, and I don't know what TV station was. Basically, they did a feature on how these guys started all of this, years back. The 2 lead dudes were actually, they did videography for like medical supplies and stuff like that. And, it's like, it wasn't really their dream, but obviously had the skills of kind of putting stories together and stuff like that. And ended up kind of getting this opportunity and just ran with it. It's become huge, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, they've done. I mean, I no clue how much like money they're making. But,
yeah, I know.
Just
because they've got what was it initially? They signed a 4-year deal with ESPN, I think, to be doing this.
Was it ESPN? I hadn't seen that.
I think so. I sent you the link to the story. It was really interesting. Kind of fun.
Shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
$8:15 on a Tuesday morning. Want to let you know you can go to our website, go to 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Bids, and you can put in your bid. One of the spotlight prizes to bid on, Elite Lawn and Landscape. They have a $1,000 and a $500 gift card. Elite Lawn and Landscape. They offer a variety of lawn and landscaping services in the Midlands. Elite has a team of professionals equipped to care for your home or business landscaping needs. Go to 1075thegame.com and click on the Sweet Bids and then put in your bid to have a chance to win the either $1,000 or $500 gift card there from Elite Lawn and Landscape. A couple of you kind of weighing in this morning, and Albert, weighing in and said, why is the defense seemingly immune from criticism right now? The only reasons we were bowl eligible the last seasons are special teams and Zeb Nolan. That's the absolute truth. I don't know. Jason Brown was the quarterback when they beat Auburn, and South Carolina did hold Auburn to less points than 21. I mean, also you can make the case if it's not for Damani Staley, interception return against East Carolina last year, South Carolina may not be bowl eligible. There's a lot of things there in terms of that. I will say for the defense, there are, and I've talked about it a lot more so at the beginning of the year when I was giving the statistics regarding rushing teams being able to run the football against South Carolina. But I do think there are some reasons the defense, there are reasons the defense has not been criticized as much. One, they're not as bad as the offense. The offense has been very, very bad. And that's taken kind of precedent over what's happened with the defense. Two, there are injuries to that defense that, are legitimate. I mean, you are, again, talking about your best linebacker in Mo Kaba. And unfortunately, Sherrod Green has just not really been able to step up and be the player that he once was because of some injuries. Brad Johnson out with the flu last week and then has really struggled adjusting to the linebacking position. David Spalding, an injury there in the secondary. And Spalding has turned into a very good football player for South Carolina and actually was a key contributor. You go back to that play against Kentucky that he made to get the game going. And it really was a momentum play very early on. So not having him as he's out now for the season. And then what I would assume we would have thought would have been the top pass rusher, Jordan Strawn, goes out obviously during the Arkansas game and has not been back, is out for the season. So they do have injuries. And I think you've also seen, with a guy like Jalen Foster, who led the nation, or I think was right. I forget now if he led the nation in interceptions last year. I know he did at one point. I forget if he ended the season. But you've seen development there with certain players. You've seen guys come along. I think Jordan Birch, who drew a lot of criticism at the beginning of the year, has played better as the season has gone along. Zach Pickens seems to have played a little bit better. So I just, as Matt from Manning says on the text line, injuries and they're just worn down. This is regarding the defense. It's hard to expect a lot from the defense when they're on the field more than the offense. Justin weighs in on the text line 803-404-6100, said the reason most sensible fans are not blaming Clayton White or the defense as much as the offense is because we have known since the beginning of the season that the defensive backfield could be an issue. Clayton warned us as much. The offense probably has as much talent as it's had in a decade. The defensive backfield has come along. Again, you see the development of guys like DQ Smith and Nick Eamon-Warry. And, a credit there to Torian Gray, to Clayton White, putting them in positions to be a little bit more successful. Yes, South Carolina did get ripped this past weekend. Anytime you give up scoring drives right off the bat, in the way they did, and you give up, I forget, it was some ridiculous statistic in terms of yardage within the first, quarter, and then you've given up over 250 yards rushing by halftime. That's a problem. And that's not just explained away by going, injuries or on the field too much. That's still an issue. You've got to be able to get off the field. But one reason why I think, Albert, you don't see the defense not being criticized as much, they have drawn their fair share of criticism. But one reason you don't see them being criticized quite as much is because, again, I think you've seen them play better at times and keep South Carolina in the ballgame. Again, go back to the Missouri game. I know that they got gashed early on, but they made adjustments at halftime and they hold Missouri to just 6 points in the second half and really gave, if you had a competent offense, you gave the team a chance to come back and win that football game. South Carolina had some turnovers, obviously couldn't do it. And again, there's no doing away with giving up 21 points in the first quarter. That happened. That 310 yards in the first three drives is what Travis points out. I think it might have been the first four drives there. But the bottom line is that happened, but South Carolina's defense did rise to the occasion. And if you had a competent offense, maybe they could have gotten back into the game because the defense made some adjustments and was able to kind of hold Florida down the remainder of the game. And that's something that the Gamecocks have been able to do. Let's actually listen to a little bit of Shane Beamer. Something that happened in the second half was turnovers. The Gamecocks several turnovers, and Shane Beamer talked about the issues. Several of those turnovers put the Gamecock defense in a bad spot. Here's Shane Beamer talking Saturday afternoon about the 3 turnovers in the second half.
SEC in turnover margin. You see why we're last in the SEC in turning the ball over, and you saw why tonight. So we've obviously got to be a whole lot better at ball security and protecting the football, because we didn't do a great job of protecting it to start the second half. And credit to our defense too, though. I mean, we put them in some tough positions, and they kept playing. And I just told the team in there, like, I'm proud of the way they fought. But they fought their asses off, and it wasn't always pretty, but the effort was good. And, we're going to find out a lot about this team. I mean, I saw what kind of men we have in that room. Now we have to obviously coach and play a lot better than what we did tonight.
You hear Shane Beamer talking about the turnovers that happened there in the third quarter. South Carolina down 24-6. So look, we all have our own different opinions. Going to the locker room 24-6, I didn't really feel South Carolina was in a position to make a run. I felt like the game had kind of been decided. And thankfully, I'm not in the locker room. I was sitting at my house, but it wasn't like after South Carolina hit the pass play there on the fake punt that I felt South Carolina was back in the game. But those turnovers did have a big impact on the game. And Shane Beamer talked about what happened on the turnovers Saturday afternoon following the game.
I think they do a great job of getting the ball out, and didn't see all of them. I know one of them, I guess Jalen's play was a bang play, and the guy did a nice job of coming downhill. I mean, they're physical in the secondary and did a nice job of attacking our guys and knocking the ball out. And we've got to certainly be better at protecting it. So no, I didn't see anything specifically. Emily, just good plays by them and poor ball security, by us as well.
And then that leads us to the last little clip we'll let you listen to is what South Carolina has to do better. There are 2 games left. The season's not – there's 2 regular season games left. South Carolina has to get better. You can't – one thing moving forward, you just can't say – and whatever you do, this is where you're paid lots of money if you're the coaching staff down there. You're paid very handsomely to make things better. You can't throw your hands up in the sky and say, well, Tennessee's better than us. Clemson's better than us. We are bowl eligible. You've got to find ways to get better. And Shane Beamer talks about what South Carolina, this is again Saturday afternoon after game, what South Carolina has to do to be better.
Not turning the ball over, first of all, Gene. I mean, 3 of 11 on third down, 44 yards rushing, turned the ball over 3 times. Just not good enough. We've got to sustain drives, and we sit it going into this game. In the last staff meeting or last meeting I had with Clayton and Sat and Pete at the hotel was, if Florida's out there for 80 plays tonight, that does not bode well for us because of our depth issues and injuries on defense. We've got to stay on the field and sustain drives. And they were out there, it looks like, for 79. And we tried to stay on the field. I mean, going for some 4th downs, faking the punt. I mean, those were all trying to just, 1, stay on the field, and 2, not leave our defense out there forever. And the defense has got to get off the field too. I mean, when you give up 374 yards rushing, we've got to be better at creating turnovers. And we didn't do a great job of that. But to answer your question, Gene, there's a lot. Can't turn the ball over, and we got to be able to run the ball and stay on the field.
That's Shane Beamer. A good bit of the audio there from Saturday afternoon following the game. Again, we will hear from Shane today, 1:30 over at the Athletics building there by the football stadium. And South Carolina, that's really, as we now transition, we move away from the Florida game. Gamecock Larry calling in the first segment of the show and giving us the pep talk and saying, you got to move past Florida. That's what the Gamecocks and the fan base has to do. It was ugly Saturday. And I'm not sure that I think it's really going to get better this weekend or next weekend, but you do have to move forward. And we, media, talking people on the radio, you fans, we can dwell on it. We can continue to discuss this. They're paid to move forward and get better. Fix those issues. Do not turn the ball over. Convert 3rd downs. Get off the field when the opposition has a 3rd down. And they've got to do that this week. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. Shane Beamer's done a lot of really good things at South Carolina through 23 games, through almost 2 years. We're coming up where we're right there at 23 months where he's been on the job. He's done a lot of really good things, a lot of positive things. I think there is. Jen, you hear it. We're getting the phone calls. We can look at the text lines. You and I were talking about it. I don't know if you tweeted it out or not, but when we gave the tickets away a little while ago, the phone lines lit up.
Yep.
People are engaged. This isn't apathy right now. It's anger, and anger's an emotion, and that's perfectly fine. When people kind of move away and give up, and I've seen it happen with Muschamp, I've seen it happen in basketball, it becomes no fun doing sports talk radio programs because nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to hear about it. Nobody wants to weigh in on it. People want to see this program get better. And one of the reasons that is because Shane Beamer has created some excitement. The administration has done a good job with the stadium. They've made it a good place to go and watch a game. People want to see it improved. They're not giving up just yet. And so with all that in mind, those are good things that have happened. You're going to go to a bowl game. You're building. You've got some recruiting that's going really well. But you run the risk of if you don't improve this week, if you don't get some of the stuff fixed, and you get your doors absolutely blown off Saturday night. If Tennessee comes in here and Jalen Hyatt goes for 250 yards receiving, and Tennessee hangs half 100 on you, and then you go to Clemson and you get shut out or something, it is really going to put a brick wall in front of all the momentum that has been created and the good things that have happened in the building that is taking place. That's the concerning part. We'll see, again, if what Shane Beamer has to say today, because you've got to not only talk about it, you've got to be about it. You've got to show it on the field on Saturday night. And it's a golden opportunity. ESPN's here. Kirk Herbstreit.
Oh, yeah. That makes me nervous. Not that the SEC network isn't a national platform, but for us to be, ABC, it's ABC, right?
No, it's ABC is the Clemson game.
I'm sorry. Yeah, ESPN. Yep. But still, it makes me nervous. Like the next 2 weeks, we're going to get some pretty darn good coverage, and we want to really show out. Those are beautiful opportunities for us in a lot of ways, for recruiting and just for the area in general. So we've got to perform.
Yeah, that there will. Again, kudos to the administration, all the people that are involved in making Williams-Brice Stadium the atmosphere it is. Kudos to you, the fan, for going out and the towels, and again, just everything that place has become. Everything that place has become is absolutely fantastic, and ESPN will showcase that early on. They're going to, they're going to have the overhead shots. Hope asks on the live stream. Yeah, I'm looking at the game notes. Play-by-play will be done by Chris Fowler. Analysis by Kirk Herbstreit. And sideline reporting by Holly Rowe.
Yeah.
The A-team is in the building on Saturday night. Now, probably not really here to showcase South Carolina. It's probably to showcase the number 5 team in the country and 9-1 Tennessee. But the bottom line is you're going to get a great opportunity on Saturday night, and I expect the stadium to look fantastic. It's going to be dark. It's going to be chilly. It's going to be really cool. Travis points out SEC Nation is here too, the traveling road show for the SEC network. So, yep, you get old Ears Feinbaum in town. Be a good time. It's going to be it's a great opportunity for South Carolina. You've got to do something to try and take advantage of it and show that this program is continuing to move forward. We'll talk more about that as we roll through the week. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The OGs of 107.5 The Game.
Jay Phillips, Heath Klein, and Tommy Moody.
Sharing their memories of 107.5 The Game and celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Just download the 107.5 The Game app or go to 107.5thegame.com to check out the podcast.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-20 westbound at 277. We have a report of an accident there. Also, I-20 westbound around exit 70. That would be Fairfield Road. The shoulder is blocked due to that one. So be careful out there if you would, and certainly be careful the rest of the day as the rain comes in. Make sure that if your wipers are on, your lights are on as well. It's going to be a cold rain today, coming in a little bit later this morning. 51 for the high, then clouds tomorrow and 60. It's cloudy right now and 50. 107.5 The Game.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly
I'd
a quarter
love
of
to
a
see
century,
Marty
Mid-State
Smith.
Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the
Marty Smith, that would be so much fun. Oh my
Well, we
God.
did that. What's that? That was a little over 2 years ago. Is that right?
Think so. Yeah. He's awesome.
See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them Mid-State Twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356.
Oh boy.
When we realized our family room was sinking, we knew we had to act fast and get the right people to come out and evaluate our situation. It was nerve-wracking. Turns out I had a foundation problem. They fixed it and guaranteed it for life.
Mountain Valley Foundation Services can secure your foundation. Visit fixmyfoundation.com to book your free inspection.
Mountain Valley Foundation Services. Rockside Foundation.
Attention. Do you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333.
For all your printing needs this holiday, Staples has you covered. I need custom printed holiday cards for my one-of-a-kind.
I was looking at the weather.
I need cards for everyone who gave me a hand this year without spending an arm and a leg. Staples has you covered with personal.
Yeah, Herb Street will do. Yeah, Herb Street won't call the noon game. He won't have time because you got to remember, Herb Street will be on location somewhere for game day. I don't know where they'd be that week, but
Contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve ache, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider will determine which prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply.
yeah, thank you. That actually makes all this. Yes, Michigan, Ohio State. Thank you. Actually, what channel is that game on? I didn't think about that. How did Carolina Clemson? Michigan, Ohio State is always the noon game on ABC. How did Carolina Clemson get the noon game on ABC? Is Michigan, Ohio State? I guess they moved it to 3:30. Is it the?
That's right. Get generic for Viagra.
I didn't even think about that yesterday.
Yeah, it surprised me.
It's got to be 3:30. I'm guessing. Fox. Oh, they're on Fox. Wow. Fox got hold of that game. Wow, you're right. Well, that'll be interesting because I don't know if y'all paid attention. By and large, game day has not gone where a Fox game has been. They've done it, but because Fox's big noon, big noon kickoff, whatever the heck they call it, is there. I think they did it. Maybe was it last year? I think they've done it once. But there was the game a couple weeks ago that Fox was at, and game day didn't go.
About 20 minutes left in the program. If you want to hop in this morning, 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. Again, I want to tell you about our Sweet Bids auction. Go to 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Bids, and put your bid in on one of the prizes, such as a beautiful aluminum Yeti cooler from Griffin Pools and Spas. Griffin Pools and Spas in Lexington, your hot tub and pool experts. Again, go to the 1075thegame.com website, click on Sweet Bids, and put in your bid there. You can go and check out a great aluminum Yeti cooler from Griffin Pools and Spas. Big thank you to them. Go to the website, 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Bids, and enter your bid there. We're kind of on the live stream just talking about a couple of the games coming up here in the next week or two. Tonight, we'll get another round of college football playoff rankings. Now it starts to get a little bit more serious. Obviously, the committee starts to hone in with TCU winning this week. They should stay, the top four should stay the exact same, should be zero change there. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. I would assume that Tennessee will stay 5. No reason for them to be moving. At this point, you're pretty well set on what everything is. The big one to keep an eye on, and I say big just from the standpoint of Oregon was number 6, and they obviously lose to Washington, so they will fall. I am assuming that the committee is not going to punish LSU for a 3-point win on the road at Arkansas. I would assume LSU will slide to 7. Feels like we're heading for, this monstrous showdown with LSU and Georgia. And I don't know how, because I watched, like we were in Jekyll Island with Austin for soccer, and I watched Tennessee absolutely boat race LSU out of Death Valley. Early game, obviously, several weeks ago, the beginning of October. It's hard for me to believe that LSU has a great chance in Atlanta against Georgia, but maybe they do. And it really becomes interesting because I think this is the nightmare scenario for Tennessee, where LSU goes to Atlanta, finds a way to knock off Georgia, and LSU jumps into the college football playoff along with the winner of Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia, who would have only lost the SEC championship game, I would assume would stay in the playoff, and LSU, by virtue of winning the SEC championship, would get in over Tennessee. There's your kind of nightmare scenario for the Volunteers, where I just don't have a belief that you get 3 teams from the SEC in unless TCU loses. But TCU this week on the road at Baylor, they've still got Iowa State, and then they will probably right now get Kansas State, who they beat a couple weeks ago, 38-28. That game was in Fort Worth, and was actually a game in which Kansas State was up 28-10, only to see TCU come back and win at 38-28. So TCU still got some work to do. This week will be very difficult. I believe I've seen that line right around 2.5 this coming week for the Bears and the Horned Frogs. That game will be again in Waco. So TCU's got to go on the road this weekend. That game will be a noon game on Fox, and maybe one of the better games of this coming weekend. Is just 2 regular season weekends left. You actually have some college football tonight, by the way. Bowling Green at Toledo, Ohio at Ball State. So we get our little MAC action going. Tomorrow night, you got 3 MAC games. Then Thursday night, SMU and Tulane. Again, that Saturday schedule, Illinois is at Michigan. Maybe you put Michigan on a little bit of upset watch there. Illinois, number 21 in the country. Michigan, number 3. I just mentioned that TCU Baylor game coming up. Other than that, the noon slate this week. Austin Peay at Alabama. Oh boy, UMass at Texas A&M. That's ugly all the way around. Florida at Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech's at Liberty. Maybe Hugh Freeze picks up another big Power 5 victory. Who knows there? It's not really the best week of college football. Georgia's at Kentucky in the 3:30 window. Ohio State, number 2 in the country, at Maryland. You got Penn State at Rutgers and NC State at Louisville. Texas at Kansas. I guess a revenge game for the Longhorns after their loss to Kansas last year. So you get the point. Not exactly the best weekend of college football across the board. The other big one out west, rivalry game, Southern Cal at UCLA, 8 o'clock game. That will also be on Fox. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to get in some last-minute thoughts. We'll wrap up the Tuesday morning edition of the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Next extra point.
It should be Vanderbilt. You haven't lost to Vanderbilt in 15 years. They lost 26 straight SEC football games. That is nothing to be proud of. That is the minimum expectation. That is show up. And it was find some joy. How dare you criticize this football team for not winning enough, for not winning well enough, or the right way. And then they got their doors blown off and did not score a point on offense.
I think we're figuring out the definition of gaslighting. I think we're getting to actually figuring out the definition because it's making you sound as if you're crazy. That's what happens when somebody gaslights you. You rev up. You're like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you mean I didn't say that? What do you mean? You're like, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? And that's it. Shane has successfully gaslit you, Pearson.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Indeed.com. Halloween is over, but hiring is still scary. Indeed's end-to-end solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details.
One time down and you're driving at JT's Jeep Ram.
It's the sale you've been waiting for. 10,000 off new Rams. No payments till next year.
You want low rates?
2.9, 0.9, even 0% financing.
New Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Compass, Rams. Over 300 new vehicles to choose from.
Bumps in your credit? Don't sweat it. I say you're approved.
One time down. Savings up to $10,000 off.
JT'sJeepRam.com.
Black Friday sales event.
Hey, sports fans. Score a rewarding new career and great employee benefits with South Carolina Department of Corrections. There's increased pay for many positions and sign-on bonuses starting at $7,500. They're hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today.
During the Stone Age, early man inhabited caves. Because building a 3-story, 5-bedroom McMansion would have kept him from watching football, hunting, and beer with the boys. Today, McMansions are built for us. Nature's little critters, however, well, no one's building for them, which only makes the cracks in your foundation all the more appealing.
Do you have issues with your foundation and need expert advice? Contact the experts at Canty Foundation Specialists by visiting CantyCanFixIt.com.
It's November at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Every new Chrysler and Jeep available with no money down and no payments for the next 3 months. And exclusive of that offer, lease a 2022 Jeep Compass for just $299 per month. Or lock in your interest rate at 3.9% for 84 months on select models. Plus, we'll take any trade in any condition. And we'll give you exactly what your trade is worth down to the penny. So if you're interested in buying a new Chrysler or Jeep with no money down and no payments for the next 3 months, come see us in November during the Black Friday sales event. Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Renegade stock number 28512. 1362 per month per thousand borrowed for 84 months at 3.9 APR with 0 down. 42-month lease, $34.95 due at sign. No security deposit subject to lender approval. Offers can combine. Expires Monday.
Gotta go to Galliano. Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Sounds like a goose in distress. Get an upgrade at eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
1075 The Game.
Final segment of the program this morning. Big thank you to JC Shurburtt for joining us. Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, Tony Annan will be in studio. We'll get you some professional World Cup coverage. Start bringing in an expert. You don't need to be inundated by Jay and Terry trying to break down the World Cup.
Good job on the names.
I know. If you missed that earlier in the program, I was trying to talk about Shane Beamer, who will be talking to the media at 1:30 today, and I referred to Jay and Terry as Tay and Jerry.
It's a pretty good time. I might have a copy of that.
Did you go back and find
handy.
it? You caught it?
Yeah, luckily I was recording at that time, and
Lovely.
it was magical. So
Yes.
people may hear that at
Good,
some
'cause
point.
we can do away
That'd be
with a
great.
couple of the openers that we have right now.
Yep.
803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. Again, tomorrow morning, Tony Annan from 7 to 8 o'clock. We will talk a little bit about the World Cup, get his thoughts. His season is wrapped up there. Some strides made. Didn't finish the season the way they wanted to, but we'll catch up with Coach Tony Annan about his season. But also, World Cup gets going next week. I think it actually gets going on Sunday, I believe, is the official first match. I probably should do some research before Coach comes in tomorrow so I can sound a little bit more educated and be prepared. But we'll do that. And Heath Klein will join us as he does each and every Wednesday in the 8 o'clock hour to do a little cross segment there, cross promotion. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Josh wants to weigh in this morning on LSU in Florida. Josh, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Hey, Bill. First of all, I'm learning how to find joy. I decided to start cutting back on my water intake later in the day, and I only got up one time last night to pee. So I'm pretty happy about that. First thing, I am going to be pulling so hard for LSU in the SEC championship game. Whatever keeps Tennessee out of the playoff, I'm down with that. I already can't stand Tennessee, but the success that they're having in year two versus what's going on here in year two just pisses you off that much more. So there's that. The other thing, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, I've heard a lot of anger about how we weren't able to score offensively last weekend. But you know what I think it comes mostly down to is opposing defense. When they're doing film study on South Carolina's offense, it allows them. It really helps them in the sense of, Marcus Satterfield's like a one-trick pony. Florida has got athletes. They've got athletes on their defense. They might not be playing well as a unit, but they've got athletes. And when they can game plan for such a simple offense, the personnel groupings. Oh, when these personnel groupings are out here, we like to run this play. And when this personnel grouping is out there, we like to run that play. How easy is that for defenses to pick up on? How easy is it for a defense to pick up on the fact that you've got Jaheim Bell lined up in shotgun with Rattler? You don't depend on Jaheim Bell to be a great blocker. I mean, that's come out publicly that he's not blocking well and doing things without the ball. They've already said that. So it's not like you're thinking that you're going to have to, that Jaheim Bell is going to block somebody. He's getting the ball. When you give a defensive unit like that that's maybe not playing their best ball together, that much of a clue of what you're doing, it makes it that much easier for them as athletes to stop it. I've heard people say, well, Tennessee's got some weaknesses in their secondary. That may be true. But the way this offense has been run, it ain't hard to make a defense that's at the bottom of the country look pretty good on that particular Saturday. So that's what it comes down to. I mean, I don't – and the last thing about the game this weekend, look, I think it's a 99% chance that it's going to be an absolute mollywhopping, okay, number one. If there is a slight miracle of them winning. And when I mean miracle, I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Angels in the Outfield that came out in the 90s. Well, we're going to need angels in the red zone. But if they were to win, I would be happy. But you know what? It would piss me off too. It'd be like, man, how come you couldn't do this last weekend? How come you couldn't do it against Missouri? Where has this been? That consistency drives me absolutely nuts, the lack of consistency. So that's my little tidbit for this morning. I appreciate you taking my call, Bill.
Appreciate the phone call. I'm glad you're cutting back on the water intake. It does help with the nightly sleeping, it sounds like, pattern. So it's good news there. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, we'll talk more about this game, about what's going to happen here on Saturday night with J.C. Shurburtt on Thursday. Patrick Perrette will join us. We'll get Brian Edwards' take from VegasInsider.com as well coming up on Thursday around 8:20. So we've got a lot that we'll get to throughout the week. Again, Tony Annan will stop by tomorrow morning from 7 to 8 a.m., and then Heath Klein will join me as he always does. But, South Carolina, one thing that Josh said that is correct is consistency. And right now there is none of that. And we'll see again. The next – I would say as we sit here, it's November the 15th. The next 2 weeks, I guess if you want to extend it out to Friday, what is that? That would be December the 2nd, I think. I think this December 2nd is a Friday. I think the 3rd is a Saturday. The only reason I say that, the next 2 weeks are incredibly critical for the Shane Beamer tenure. I mean, you take time and you think about that as you go through the day and you think about, all right, we're going to hear him speak here at 1:30 today. And I say that they're incredibly critical because, again, all the good stuff that you've kind of built, and I am in the club of getting bowl eligible was a good thing. It is an accomplishment for this program right now. But if you get just destroyed, and that's possible. It's possible. But if you get destroyed for 2 straight weeks, there's nobody who's going to feel good about going to Birmingham or if they go to the Liberty in Memphis. If you get destroyed, the Gator Bowl's not going to want you. Fans are going to be down. Nobody's going to want to spend that money to go and travel. And then you go through those 2 games, and then the offensive coordinator situation has to play out. These next, you kind of gauge it out, these next 20 days for Shane Beamer, for this tenure, for this coach, for this head coach, it's massive. You're hoping to hold on to this recruiting class. You're hoping not to lose all the momentum. You go back just a couple weeks ago, we're sitting here after you beat Texas A&M, and it feels like the world is Shane Beamer's oyster. He's got everything in front of him. Winnable games against Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Florida. You went 1-2. And not only did you go 1-2, you looked really bad offensively in 2 of those. You only scored 1 touchdown in 2 of those winnable games. Florida was winnable. You beat Vanderbilt. And now you sit here and a lot of that momentum from the Texas A&M game is gone. Next 20 days, we'll hear Shane Beamer talk about it.
And I bet his son is all over him.
Yeah, letting him know.
Letting him know
probably
about these next 20 days.
They're big. I mean, they really are. It's a point where you can change the course of the program and take the next step, climb over the 6-win barrier, or you go backwards or you stay status quo. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about it. Obviously, Shane Beamer set to talk today, 1:30. Terry, Jay, I'll say their names correctly occasionally, although
Fantastic.
I like Tay and Jerry.
Yeah. You kind of got to, like I said, it's almost sounding like that bromance thing.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually now. That'll be the new 12 to 3 show. Tay and Jerry coming up later today. Pearson Fowler is next. Jen and I will be back tomorrow morning. Tony Annan will bring his unique perspective in with us as well. Y'all have a great day.
Oh, I'm listening. I was like, what is this on my computer? All right, everybody. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the day.
Stay dry.
Find some joy. That's right.
Absolutely. Be a good day.
See you in the morning. Take care.
Yes.